Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
With the big mess that we have in Washington that has basically circled all of us the last couple of days, these words really, really ring true. If we're going to have universal background checks on virtually everybody who buys a gun, don't you think maybe it's time to require a background check on anybody wanting to be president? Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. On this October 2nd, 2013, nice morning right now. Good morning. Love that lady. Never get tired of her version of America. God bless America. And welcome to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. Big tire sale going on right now. And don't forget some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland and Burley. And we're going to have the drawing tomorrow, our first drawing, and a beautiful painting's being given away by Lee's Furniture. Our first drawing for the cow pies and coffee cups. You still have time. Hurry, get your names in there. We've got 3 other drawings all through the month of October, so don't miss that. And also, Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today, 734-6969. And now, the lady that holds it all together. She is the gorilla glue of this program. I almost bit my tongue on that.
I know.
You noticed that?
I did.
You know, you try to say something with emphasis, and then all of a sudden you bite your tongue and go, oh my goodness, that hurt.
And then your mouth salivates. Gorilla Glue, though, yes, I love Gorilla Glue.
Yeah, you know, there is a commercial on television that doesn't make a lot of sense, though. A guy's fixing a picket fence with Gorilla Glue. Why don't you just say, Gorilla Glue, Gorilla Glue, Gorilla Glue. There we go.
Go!
Hate that. I'm just going to say with Stickum.
Good morning, sir, and by the way, happy birthday.
You weren't supposed to say anything.
Oh, I'm going to say it loud and proud, and I'm going to say it all over the place.
Oh, no, come on.
Come on, what are you, like, 60 years young now? No?
You deserve a kiss on the cheek for that one. You're not even close.
Oh, I know how old you are.
Oh.
Just saying you're 60 years young. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
My old buddy, rodeo clown Randy Munn, said that I was around and actually helped in God's creation of dirt.
I think you were, too. I think you are as old as dirt because you have the knowledge.
Oh, you really want to raise, don't you? I mean, you're really pushing for it.
Is it working?
Well, it's not failing. Hey,
okay.
Do we have a pledger?
We have Miss Donna Mass on for the pledge, and then, of course, Michael Rogers on for the weather.
All right, thank you so much. Good morning, lovely Donna. The pledge, please.
Good morning, Mr. Bell. I would be honored. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was very, very well done. Thank you.
Thank you, and may I be the second to wish you a very, very happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. You know what my wife made me?
I know she made you a cake.
How come you know about it? Everybody knows more about my birthday than I do.
Well, yeah, because we email each other early in the morning.
It's a layer cake.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I love layer cakes.
Would you eat my piece for me?
Or 2.
That would work too.
Okay.
And I know she baked all the calories out.
You know what? Today, I don't care if I eat enough calories to fill the Goodyear blimp. I'm going to enjoy.
Well, you're very deserving, and thank you so much for everything you do for all of us, Zeb.
Well, appreciate it, Donna. You and George are very, very special friends. God bless you and have a wonderful day.
You too, my friend.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. All righty. And now, without further ado, we talk to the world's best weatherman. As a matter of fact, he has that title on the side of his truck, World's Best Weatherman. Michael Rogers Weather, good morning.
Morning, happy birthday. That's it, I'm done with that.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
There you go. Okay, let's get to this. We have some weather action starting tomorrow. 36 degrees right now in Murtaugh. Good morning, everybody. When I do my weather, I go through a certain bunch of products through the National Weather Service to get an idea and to pass on the information to you. That didn't take place today because of a partial government shutdown. So, the forecast that I'm giving to you is per my knowledge and experience of living in the Magic Valley for over 8 years, and as we roll into October, we've got a storm coming. And the first question on your mind is always, is it going to be snow? Let's put it this way. The key to all the snowstorms that come through our area is the level that it comes out of the sky, 4,000 to 5,000 feet. At this particular point in time, I see rain from Murtaugh, but if you're going to be heading up towards Shoshone, you're going to be seeing possibly snow. Mixed rain and snow could be up on the forecast, too. That'll take place late tonight, going into tomorrow, tapering off late tomorrow night. Then we got a nice weekend. But other than that, let's get ready for fall. Let's get ready for the weather. Enjoy it. It's the only weather you got. And when these guys get their head together on unshutting down the information that I need to pass on to you, I'll pass that on to you also. Have a great day. Bye.
Mike, thank you so much. MichaelRogersWeather.com. I appreciate that, man. He is the best. Thank you so much. Hey, don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric. Caller, I'll be right with you. Stand by. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Oh, they threw the doors open at 7:30 and said, "Good morning, world." Yes, sirree, Bob. They've got all the cords, cord ends, fuses, everything. I know you're in the middle of harvest, and I know that you need things in a hurry. Well, let's salute the farmers and go on in and get a free cap, popcorn pop. Just run in, have your order on the counter. Call ahead, 678-0459, Ramsey Heating and Electric. 57 years in business serving you, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I forgot to wish you a happy birthday yesterday.
Well, right back at you, Rodney, because I understand you're also celebrating your birthday today. Your mom told me that, and I want to wish to you one of the happiest days you've ever had in your life, okay?
Yep. What kind of cake did your wife make for you?
A great big vanilla cream cheese layer cake, and I'm just looking forward to it.
Guess what? My mother's making me a great big strawberry pie.
Oh, Rodney, that sounds pretty tasty.
Yep. Thought I'd try to make you a little jealous. I know you love strawberry.
I do. I really do. Well, Rodney, have a wonderful day.
Chocolate ice cream with it.
Oh, chocolate ice cream and strawberry pie. My goodness, that's a range. Listen, you have a wonderful day. God bless you, and many, many more, okay?
Yeah, boy, God bless you, too. And, boy, I wish I was doing a lunch bunch with you, you know. But I'll see you in either November or December, depending on when we finish.
All right, Rodney. God bless you, my friend. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Catch you later.
What a nice young man, and his birthday is today. So we say to him, happy birthday. Valley White Home and Ranch, hey, they got all your feed for all your livestock, and they've got a great fishing section, and they've got all the clothing. Oh, speaking of which on the clothing, I was over there the other day, and there's no reason to get chilly or get cold in a cold snap, because they've got all the warm jackets and the vests and everything. They've got the Carhartt. They got it all over there for you. And don't forget, too, your pet foods needs are over there at Valley White Home and Ranch. And like Steve and I were talking the other day, if they don't have what you're looking for, which is hard to believe, they'll get it for you. That's the kind of people they are at Valley White Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert, for the farm, the family, and, of course, the old ranch. They're serving you at Valley White Home and Ranch. All right, give us a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Zebber, happy birthday to you.
A lot of people do not know, and the truth is that Alan Butler, using his full name, used to be the lead singer for the Mormon Tabernacle Choir.
Zebber, you can go to hell fast for lying.
Well, I'll tell you what, it means a lot that you would call, and my biggest concern is, how's Polly doing this morning?
She's doing great. We were going to try coming down, but I'm not going to push her because she got pretty well let down yesterday. She had to stay home quite a bit.
Well, you just stay home, Polly. God bless you. Make Al wait on you hand and foot for every whimsical need that you might have, and the best to her.
And I hope you don't put on 40 pounds like the way you're talking.
Today, I don't care.
Well, then let's don't hear about this weight loss anymore.
Well, now, I've got to say that I'm down now. I'm proud of this. I am really proud of this. I am down to 216.
Well, we'll see you at 266. How's that?
No, I'm never going to get heavy again. I'm going to stay right here at my bantamweight. For me, 216 is a bantamweight. I'm a big guy, and I lost a bunch of weight, and I'm wearing Wranglers now that were in the closet upstairs and thought they would never be worn again, and I guess I fooled them, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, have a good one, Zebber.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Calls welcome 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Boy, I'll tell you what, this has turned into a mess. Yesterday, I listened to Obama's speech on the White House lawn, and I don't care if you're a Democrat. I really don't care if you're a Republican. I really don't care if you want to be nonpartisan. That was nothing more than a hate speech. It was a hate speech with a vendetta. It was a hate speech with just the saliva in the corner of his mouth just was foaming. You could see he was so mad because Obama's not getting his way. Obama's not getting his way. And you can see he is in his attack mode. He will not negotiate. This man will sit down with the enemy. This man will bow and kowtow to the enemy. But this man will not sit down and negotiate a huge problem that has now got America in limbo and hurting a lot of people. Hurting a lot of people, he will not negotiate. He's above anyone or anything, and he doesn't believe in negotiation. Don't you sit there in Radioland and say a damning of the Republicans and blame them for this problem. No, let's look at the facts. They presented issues that could be in the form of moderation and could be negotiated. And the Democrats never showed up. All of the Republicans sat there at a table by themselves. If you haven't seen that picture, you can see it on the news, depending upon which liberal newscast might carry it. This is a mess. This is day 2 of a shutdown, and the president at this juncture is to blame. President Obama is to blame. Not the Democrats in general. Not the Republicans. It's President Obama because he is supposedly our leader. This is something that needs to be taken care of. He needs to say, enough. We're going to get in this little room. We're going to have Harry Reid and John Boehner. We're going to get in this little room. And when the door opens, whether you come out with bandages on or your arms in a sling, we're going to have this mess settled. We're going to have this mess settled. But don't bet on that because we don't have any leadership. We have no leadership whatsoever. This man, right now, with this crisis, and it is a crisis, has the ability, and mark my words on this, he has the ability to turn this country into a dictatorship. Some of the things that he said yesterday in that speech reminded me of a person that would step around or step on or over anyone to take the power and run it himself. He mentioned and damned the Republicans at least. I lost track at 24. 24 verbal mentions. Republicans did this. Republicans are to blame. Republicans are responsible. Republicans. He kept damning them. There was no unification. There was nothing in his speech, not one word in his speech that said we've got to come together and settle this, and we've got to arbitrate and get this thing negotiated and settle it for the American people. Not one time. This man is not a leader. This man is an amateur. This man has no business standing up in front of anyone and trying to conduct leadership. He doesn't know how. Your calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Rain for Rent. Hey, nice people over there. 134 South, 600 West, Highway 27 in Paul. Number to remember, and call them for all the Rain Key Pivot sales and service, and they've got the best of people. Oh, they've got knowledgeable people. Skip Hilton and Brooks West and Frank Jensen. They all know water and irrigation and all the industrial services, including pumps and everything else. They know. And by the way, too, they're having another drawing for a 40-inch flat-screen TV that's going to be given away, I think, on October 21st. And they've got great, right now, Rain Key rebates for this fall. Rain for Rent. 134 South, 600 West, Highway 27 in Paul, 438-5065. I don't know about you folks, but this is ridiculous. Greatest, strongest country in the world, and we're in the middle of a current situation that could escalate into, and I'm not making a joke on this, this could escalate into a martial law situation with the shutdown. People are very upset, and needfully so. I talked to one of my best friends yesterday, was at my home, and he is a government employee. Right now, he's basically out of work. And I feel a lot of empathy and sympathy for him. I really, really do. But you can't start pointing fingers at anyone right now except to the very top. To the very top. And that's the president. And I use that term loosely. For not jumping in the fray and getting this thing settled. It's a jealousy. Because he doesn't want his program, Obamacare, attacked. He doesn't want his program, Obamacare, questioned. He doesn't want anything about him, his personality, his ideology, ever questioned or possibly altered or lessened. This man does not deserve to be president. But we're stuck with him. But now we need to get a problem settled. Obamacare is, it's a mess already. And I've talked to many, many people that have called me on the phone, and they said they tried to get involved with our exchange here in the state of Idaho, and they had a lot of trouble getting through. And then I called some of the national people back in New York and Washington, D.C., and they're absolutely being put on hold. They can't get through to the website. They can't find the information. It is not at all workable. Now, you might say, well, yeah, but it's new, and it's just breaking in. Wait a minute, folks. They've had 3 years to get this thing put together so that when they open the doors, they could slide the car out on the runway and say, oh, gee, buy it. It's great. It's not working because they weren't prepared. A headline in the USA Today yesterday said, it's putting its final touches for Obamacare on the website. Final touches the day it starts on the website? That's ridiculous. That's asinine, and that's amateur. I hear somebody breathing.
Well, this is my 2 cents on the whole thing. We aren't ready for Obamacare, and that is the major sticking point, I think, between the House and the Senate. I don't think that 3.5 years is long enough to actually do even a test run on the insurance health care program.
Absolutely.
I don't. And so honestly, you know what I think that they should do? Table it. That is a sticking point for both sides. Table it, get everything else done and taken care of, and then revisit the issue after it's had its test run. It's not ready. People are not ready for it.
It's not ready for prime time. I totally agree with you. And I just want to throw this at you real quick. Give me a short answer. I got to get in travel loop. 3 years. Now think back 3 years, what you were doing and how busy you were and what jobs you were connected with, okay? And then progress your mind up to the current day. And they have had, with the Health and Human Services Department and Kathleen Sebelius, they have had all this time to put together and study with their committees, etc., the possible glitches, how to sign up and everything. Have they not?
They've had 3.5 years, and from my end, knowing how to work a website, knowing how to build a platform and everything, it takes a long time, and especially when you're talking about millions of users, it takes a long time.
But my point is, they knew that there were going to be millions of users. How dare they put, the day, October 1st, that it goes into effect, they say a headline that says, final touches will be made shortly on the website. Why?
It should have been done months ago.
There you go.
Given it test runs months ago.
This is ridiculous.
You've got a phone call, and then we do have, of course, everything else here.
I'm telling you what, let me do another quick commercial here, and then I'll take the phone call, and then I'll go to Travelube. Caller, I'll be right with you. Don't go away. I want to remind you about Four Paws Bed and Bath for your dogs and kitty cats at 370 West, 200 South, Rupert, 438-4444. And don't forget, they're going to have a big Halloween happenings, a Halloween party Saturday, October 26th, free pictures with your pet, refreshments, costume contest for your pets, and today being Wednesday. Wednesday is Whisker Wednesday. All cat items are 15 to 25% off. You better get over there. Four Paws Bed and Bath for your dogs and kitty cats. 370 West, 200 South of Rupert. Really fun people. Kathy and the crew at Four Paws. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb, and happy birthday to that old fella.
Tony, listen, when you make a happy birthday wish, you don't really have to go into all the emphasis, okay?
I got you by 20 bucks.
Hey, God bless you, man. Thanks.
Listen, did you happen to watch Channel 25 this morning?
No, as a matter of fact, I had to get up. I watched a little bit of the news at 4 a.m., and then I got in here, and I've been working in my office ever since collecting news and data from Washington and New York.
Well, I think Ann Romney's going to come under fire because she said that if Mitt was in charge of the country, it wouldn't be shut down right now.
I believe that she's probably right.
Yeah, she's absolutely right because right now Barack Obama is a saboteur, and he'll do anything, pull any dirty tricks to to blame the Republicans for what's going on.
I was really upset at that speech. I don't know if you caught it yesterday or not, but that man made total emphasis over 24 times in a speech that was less than 15 minutes of damning and condemning the Republicans and not taking any of the responsibility as President of the United States to get this issue settled.
Well, he's getting his cues from Vladimir Putin, and he'd like to run this country just the way Putin is running the Soviet Union, and that's what's behind it all.
Well, I'll tell you something. We've got a major problem right now, and this shutdown is affecting a lot of people, a lot of good people. And I absolutely feel my heart goes out to them, and I hope it's a very short-lived problem. But I'm not so sure that this president wants this problem to go away.
Well, he doesn't. He wants a dictatorship, and that's what he's after, and that's what he wants to get.
Tony, you and Mary mean a lot to us. God bless you, my dear friend. Say hello to your lovely wife.
I certainly will. Thank
All right,
you,
thank you, my friend. Thank
Bye.
you. Just wonderful people right there. Oh, my goodness, I got to run. I'm late. Travelube Supply, 1050 West, 203 South of Hayburn, 438-8730. The number to call, old Jim McCall. I can't say that. He's younger than I am. Anyway, they got all the grease guns and the grease gun supplies and all the grease, and they've got the window wash for the trucks and harvest, and they got all your shop towels, and they got your Bubba ropes. Better check on the Bubba ropes. And you get stuck out in that field, you're going to say, where's my Bubba rope? You got to have it. Call them, 438-8730. Travelube Supply in Hayburn. They deliver the goods. It's time now for the Capital Press Ag Minute. And it's brought to you by our dear, dear friends at Pacific Steel and Recycling. Really good people. 320 West Main in Burley, 678-2321. Here now, the Capital Press Ag Minute.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly.
Potato growers in the Pacific Northwest are anxiously awaiting the outcome of high-level maneuvers between the U.S. and Mexico over fresh market potatoes. The USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service has proposed parameters for accepting imports of fresh potatoes from Mexico, representing another step forward in a decade-long effort to fully open fresh spud trade between the two countries. Current policy restricts Mexican fresh spud imports into the U.S. and limits fresh U.S. spuds to an area within 16 miles of Mexico from the U.S. border. Potato industry leaders believe now is the opportune time to push for full fresh potato access in Mexico due to the country's desire to participate in the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade agreement.
For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West's Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and capitalpress.com.
Absolutely. Pacific Steel and Recycling at 320 West Main in Burley brings us the Ag Minute. And don't forget, they pay top dollar for all your scrap iron, tin, cars, autos, stainless steel, aluminum, copper, and so much more. Really nice people, and they'll even help you get it in there. You better believe it. 320 West Main in Burley. Number to call, 678-2321. Pacific Steel and Recycling. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget, too, I want to remind you, Thursday, tomorrow, we're going to have our first drawing of our first prize. We're going to be giving away a prize every week in October on Thursday for the sign-ups to our Cow Pies and Coffee Cups blog. This thing has got so big, I had no idea. We're going into the 100th edition, and we literally have thousands and thousands of people all over the United States that are receiving this. And we're going to give away tomorrow, thanks to Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Oberlin in Burley, a beautiful painting for your living room. It's valued at over $400. So don't miss that. We'll have the drawing tomorrow, thanks to Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I heard yesterday on the talk show, and I don't know if you heard it or not, but they were talking, about maybe just implementing it, Obamacare, and letting it fall under its own weight and stuff like this. And the guy was talking about it, and he says, in the bill, it says something about under her discretion, the gal that's running the Obamacare.
Kathleen Sebelius.
She can change as she will, changes as she wishes, the requirements and the laws and stuff like this. He says it's just like a weed. Once it takes root, he says they're hard to get rid of. He says Roundup won't even kill this weed.
Well, and here's something that really bothers me. Obamacare has been changed, altered, amended, and rewritten, erased, etc. 19 times, okay? And yet, there are those pundits, if you want to give them that high level of notoriety, there are those pundits that say all the Republicans are trying to do is just set it down. Well, listen, what they have done and proposed, I think, is common sense. Let's hold this thing off to the general public for a year till we get the glitches out of it, find out exactly how to run it, find out exactly what it's going to do, find out exactly what's going to happen to the doctors, find out exactly how it's going to affect senior citizens, find out how it's going to affect the youth sign up for Obamacare, and give it a year's trial and tribulation, and then let's kind of fine-tune this thing and hit it with the public. They're not doing this because they will not bend. They'll alter it themselves, my dear friend, but they won't listen to anybody else. They are not trying to negotiate whatsoever.
No, they're not. And maybe what the Republicans ought to do is say, okay, all these amendments and deals that you granted, that you did, President, which you had no authority to do, you can't change a law just because you want to. We'll implement it, but it's going to be in the full bore like it was everybody. And the Senate, where they're getting an exemption, I called and talked to our senators, but I talked to one of the staff, and he says, oh no, we're not getting any exemption. That's just false. But you hear it everywhere. Yeah,
staffers are the worst people to talk to because they're not only unknowledgeable, but they're also on a payroll. And they will say what they think they should say to protect their you-know-what.
Protect their job.
Yep.
But it's BS. And I'm going to call and talk to the senator himself and say, hey, when your staffer tells somebody something, it best be the truth.
Well, and here's the other part of that story. And I want to let the public know. Now, I've called Rish's office and Crapo's office the last 2 days. And I have had zero human being on the other end. I've ended up with tape machine answering machines on 4 occasions already. I want answers. You, as a constituent of theirs, deserve answers. And I issued an ultimatum this morning on the phone when I called. You call me by noon today, or I'm going to get on the air tomorrow and tell everybody you're avoiding me. This radio program is the most listened to all over southern Idaho, and I want answers, and you deserve the answers.
Right. That's all I've gotten was the recordings, too. Due to the shutdown, there will be no staffing.
Yeah, and, this game is not a fun game to win, and if you go around the board and you end up back at one of the cheap pieces of real estate on the Monopoly board, it doesn't make me happy.
No, it doesn't. It's like anything in life. If you got to fight for it to win it, when you get it, you'll respect it. You will appreciate it that much more.
And I'll say this. My friend. For those out in the audience, and I have a lot of emails and I've had a lot of phone calls that have criticized me because of my support of Senator Ted Cruz from Texas for what he tried to do. And I will stand up and I'll say, okay, go ahead. Throw your rocks. Beat your whip at me or whatever you want to do, because I'm standing up for a guy that had the guts to risk his political career and do the filibuster and stand up against the rest of his Republicans. They can bury him if they desire to. But I stand up with him and say, you know what, you had the courage. I wish the rest of America, and especially your other cohorts in the Senate and also in the House of Representatives, had the same moxie that you have.
Exactly. He's doing what he was elected to do.
Amen.
He told the people he would stand up for what they want, and he is standing up for what they want.
Well, I'm not a...
more of them ought to do.
Yeah, amen to that. And thank you. Thank you very much for your call. I appreciate it.
Have a great day.
Hey, you too, sir. Thank you. Calls welcome, 436. I think we had another one calling in, and I'm just going to say, caller, I'll be right with you. I promise. Oh, that makes me feel really bad. Come on, call back. I'll hurry, I promise. Middlecoff Ford Lincoln Body Shop. Now, this is a testimonial from yours truly, Zeb Bell. They did some work, a lot of work, on my pickup, and let me tell you something, these guys are good. Middlecoff Ford Lincoln Body Shop, 1243 Blue Lakes Boulevard North in Twin Falls, and I'm guaranteeing you that they know what they're doing. They are an ICAR certified, only shop in Twin Falls area like that. If you've had an accident or a fender bender, you stop in the Middlecoff Body Shop. They know what they're doing. They strive to make your vehicle repairs look undetectable, and they do a wonderful, wonderful job. Middlecoff Ford Lincoln Body Shop in Twin, 736-2490. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Happy birthday, you old fart.
I can't think of a better birthday card. Man, that just made me feel so good. Thanks, Gilt, man.
You remember when gunpowder was invented back in the 1600s, don't you?
Yeah, I shot the first musket ball. I appreciate it.
I want to kind of talk out to the people out there. People, the government is like a business. And it all comes down to the guy that's at the top, the CEO or the president in this case.
There you go.
His responsibility is to make things work. His responsibility is to cut things that are inefficient and make changes and stuff like that. And this one that we have now figures as long as he's got checks in the checkbook, he can keep writing them.
Yeah, Kiltman, how come he thinks, the Democrats think, and the general public is dumb enough to accept, and I mean that, the general public is dumb enough to accept, look at your polls, look at your voting, and they're dumb enough to accept the fact that Obama gets a free pass. Why?
Well, that's just it. I don't understand. If they look at their own life, what they have to do to survive, why do they let him get the free pass or they get the free pass and you don't get one?
Yeah, here's the thing, and you're a sharp guy. You've been around the horn once or twice. Here's the President of the United States. He's got all the omnipotent powers of anybody, strongest, most powerful man in the world, with the greatest country in the world. All he has to do this morning, Eastern Time, is to call Boehner, call Reed, get him in his office and say, okay, guys, this is going to be settled in an hour. Let's get to work on it, all three of us right now. Kiltman, it's as simple as it gets.
Oh, it is. It is. The thing is, let's go back to Obama. The U.S. government, the largest business in the world right now, bar none, is the most inefficient business in the world, bar none.
Absolutely.
And why isn't the CEO doing something about it? Why isn't he changing some heads of different areas of the government? Why isn't they, why aren't they doing something to make their department more efficient or something like that? No, they just go along. They know they've got a free ride. No big deal. No, we need to start chopping their heads and treating it like a business.
But you know something? I'll say this and then I've got to do a commercial, but I'm not so sure that we can lay it at the excuse of they don't care. I'm absolutely starting to think, after I listened to that speech yesterday, the amateuristic attitude and the evil attitude of his speech, I'm not so sure they know how.
Well, I'm not sure they do either. I mean, they've been integrated for so many years and stuff like that. But the thing is, you know, they're given X amount of money every year, period. They're given this much money. You got to spend it or you don't get it next year. So what do? They blow it on one of their stupid little thing out there instead of turning it back and making it look better. They just go ahead and spend it so they make sure they got money for their department next year.
I totally agree. I'm very concerned, and I said this earlier this morning, and I'll probably have egg on my face for saying this, Kilt Man, but I'll stand behind my statements on this program. This is a crisis that, like Rahm Emanuel and others have said, never let a crisis go to waste. I think this is a crisis that could, I'm not saying it will, but it could create a dictatorship atmosphere with martial law, etc., imposed upon us by Obama. Think about it. All the cogs are there, the gears are there to mesh together, and he could end up in a very dictatorial, powerful situation.
Well, we've heard people out there already that have said Obamacare was designed to fail. It was designed to fail. Now, is that the underlying reason to make it go this way so he can do exactly what you just said?
See, right there, I don't have an answer, but I've just got some theories and some thoughts, and I've always been afraid of this man, and I use afraid in the terminology of I don't trust him and never will. I tell you something, when you see a headline in the paper, like I said, USA Today, HHS puts final touches on website, and that was dated yesterday's newspaper, October 1st. Kilt Man, this is idiocy. They've had 3.5 years to get the final touches on the website and have this thing slide down the rail just on pure grease.
Like I said, you got to run it like a business. If you can't make it work, you cut it off and you start over again.
Amen. Thanks for your call, buddy. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Thank you. Don't forget Scott Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, 150 South, 950 West of Paul. Oh, yeah, I'll tell you what. If you've got a sprinkler system and you're just sitting back going, well, summer's over, we can quit. Whoa, wait a minute. Don't let that freeze up. You better have those lines blown out so you don't have any damage and you're ready to rock and roll next year. Scott Gano can do it. He's got a great crew. Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, 150 South, 950 West of Paul, 431-8733. Write that number down, 431-8733. Call them and get on the list today. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. This morning I was watching the news, and in Washington, D.C. at the mall, there's several hundred veterans that are waiting to get into the mall. They made this plan months and months ago in their wheelchairs and everything else. And this congressman from Oklahoma, I think his name is Gomer or something like that, he went over there and opened the gate. And now they're in there. And I cheer this man to no end.
You know, I want to say something about this. Yesterday, 92 Mississippi Gulf Coast Honor Flight veterans were refused admittance into the World War II Memorial. And I want to give credit to Representative Steve King of Iowa and Michelle Bachmann of Minnesota. And they, along with some others, just opened the gates and said, you go on in. You know, Keith, I'm going to say this, and you can argue with me if you wish. But there is a time, there is a place, and there is a need at certain junctures to break the law and do what's right.
That's absolutely right. And you know what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And this has not put one little mark on Obama. He's doing everything he wants to do. Let's take, for instance, if he wants to go golfing today, they're going to have all these Secret Service people, and I have no idea how many it takes for him to go have fun. Now, don't they work for the government?
Yeah.
The Secret Service?
What I would like to see, and I know a lot of people out there are going to cringe and say that I don't respect authority and I don't respect the law. Well, in this case, I don't. I'm going to be very blunt about it. And if somebody's offended by it, call me. My number is 312-2976. I won't back up from taking your call or your emails. In this case, I wish that thousands of veterans, wheelchair-bound, whatever, would get in their wheelchairs or on their scooters or whatever mechanization they need to go see this World War II memorial. I wish they would knock down the barricades, go in there, and thumb their nose at idiocy that's now being performed in Washington. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree with you 100%. And a good example of that is the Washington Monument that never closes. They're open 24 hours a day. I was over there one time. It was 10 o'clock in the evening. They're tough. And they're open for business.
Yeah.
It takes very few people to run that. They have elevators and stuff like that, and a few people to show you around and everything, but it doesn't take much.
They're going to have today police on horseback enforcing this. Crowd control police on horseback that literally are trained, and these horses are trained to literally run over, push up against, etc., anyone. And this is a debacle. This is a disgrace. And I absolutely, yes, America, yes, government, yes, NSA that's listening to this program and taping me as an extreme right-winger, yes, I say break the law, run over the barricades, and salute America and our veterans.
The Washington, or the mall there in Washington, D.C., that belongs to the people.
Absolutely.
And I tell you what, they have no rights in the world to block us out.
I'm glad you brought that up this morning.
We should go there and just make a big stink.
I agree with you, and boy, I'm good at doing that, and I don't shirk the duty. Keith, God bless you, man. Thanks so much.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Well, the time for the weather. Michael Rogers is waiting in the background and is brought to you this hour by Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Caller, I'll be right with you. Don't forget, Sportsman's Warehouse carries only the top quality products. They have everything first class. For the serious outdoor enthusiast, it is the great indoors for those who love the great outdoors. I love that store. Quality gear, down-home attitude at Sportsman's Warehouse in Twin Falls. And here now, Michael Rogers weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. To share this with you, not to complain, but to give you a reality as far as the weather is concerned. When I go through the National Weather Center to check the forecast model to kind of look down the road at what's happening, I can't do that because of a government partial shutdown. Our weather for today, partly sunny, 60 for the high, 36 for the overnight low. We'll start to see some rain tonight going into tomorrow, tapering off late tomorrow night, and then we have a nice fall, cool weekend. So enjoy the day, enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you've got.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it. Sportsman's Warehouse bringing you the weather this hour, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Happy B-Day to you. Happy B-Day to you. Happy B-Day, happy B-Day, happy B-Day to you.
Who is this?
Sharon.
Well, for heaven's sakes, I kind of recognize the voice, but I wasn't sure. How are you?
I am doing just great. You know, I am a little bit miffed with this government shutdown thing because it's hitting the wrong people.
Absolutely.
There has been no sacrifice for Congress, our legislative people, and this president. They are the ones who should have taken the first fight.
Sharon and I will go back and I'll reiterate what I said earlier, and I know you well enough that you're not going to arbitrate with this, you're going to agree with it. This so-called president, this so-called leader, and to use Kiltman's terminology, the CEO of our country, which is a business, he could take care of this in 10 minutes on the phone by calling these people like little children that have caused a problem on the schoolyard. Get into my office now, we're going to negotiate and get this done for the sake of the American public and our stature in the world. But this man is not qualified to be the leader.
Well, and he's holding leverage over Congress on this Obamacare crap that we, the people, have said no. And he's not listening.
No, wait a minute.
Some of them are trying to listen to what we're saying, and that's why it is being held up. But he's using that as his leverage on this. And that is wrong.
No, I totally agree with you up to a point. There again, they're saying, well, it was passed. The Supreme Court said it was good. Everything's all right. No, you and I and everybody else in this great United States of America had this 2,900-page bill thrust upon us. Nobody knew what was in it. Nobody knew about the hidden taxes. Nobody knew about the hidden gratuities that are going to go elsewhere. Nobody really understood it, nor did Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi when she said we got to pass the doggone thing to find out what's in it. I think this is lunacy, and it was forced upon us, and now that we know what's in it, now we should have a complete review in at least a year's time of finding out what the heck this thing's going to do.
Well, like I say, because we've said no, that's what the answer should be.
Absolutely.
They shouldn't keep pushing forward on it. How many times do we have to tell them no? And then the other thing that really frosts my onions is the fact that a lot of these places, state parks, federal places, those are run by volunteers.
That's right.
They may have 1 or 2 or 3 people who are paid to be there daily, but the majority of that stuff is run by volunteers.
And I'll go back
to shut it down and say, y'all can't come look-see, that's wrong.
Well, and to go back to our World War II veterans, or our veterans in general, that were absolutely tried to be shut down and shut out of the World War II memorial when they've made plans and had flown up there at a cost to many, I say break the law, let them in, I'll even help take down the barriers. I would not mind at all being arrested for helping what's right.
Well, and aren't those places, and isn't these places public lands?
Not anymore.
Places?
Yeah, but see, you will utilize, when you're in Obama's position, you will utilize anything to side with your leadership, Harry Reid and Schumer and the rest of them. They're going to do everything they can to damn and condemn the Republicans and try to drive the wedge between them permanently. You can bet on it.
Yeah, and I think that this should be a good wake-up call for the general populace to see how far these little fingers of government are trying to reach and do reach.
I agree. Hey, by the way, thank you so much for your kind thoughts. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Have a great
God bless you. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
2 things. First, happy birthday, young man.
Well, I don't know about the young part, but I'll guarantee you one thing. I hope I can reach and attain your age and ability and agility. Thank you so much.
Well, you're younger than I am, so that makes you a young man.
All right, sir. Thank you.
The second thing, you tell a lie long enough and loud enough, and people will believe it. And that is what they're trying to do.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. The lie, the perpetration of a lie, the furtherance of a lie, the ideology of a lie, that's what's happening right now. And I still maintain, and I wish that we had Democrats in this area that had a backbone in the spine, and they would call and argue with me. This man, Obama, could, should, and absolutely it's a necessity, end this thing by noon today if he got everybody together and they solved it.
Right on.
Thank you, sir. God bless you for your thoughts. And say hello to your pretty wife this morning.
I'll do it.
All right, sir. Thanks. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Thank you, my dear friend. Fred, how are you? Thank you.
Well, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm a little older, and I feel it.
Well, you're not old yet. Wait until you get my age, then you'll be old.
Well, I appreciate you and your friendship over the many, many years. What do you think about this mess with Obama? Don't you feel that he could get this thing settled by noon today?
Well, he could have it settled long before that. If he'd been, well, I shouldn't have said that. But, yeah, he could have had it settled long before that. He shouldn't have ever started it.
Well, but you know, everybody, did you hear the speech yesterday?
What?
Did you hear his speech yesterday?
Yes, I did. And it was pathetic.
The hate, the rhetoric against the Republicans and damning them and creating I think, a division that never can be healed. I found this man to be exactly the opposite of what he said when he ran for president the first time, that he was going to be the great unifier. He is nothing more than creating a bigger Grand Canyon.
Why, sure he is. That's what he come in there for. to destroy our country.
Well, he's done a good job.
That's what I really believe he come in there for, was to destroy our country, the dreams of my father.
Well, I agree with you, Fred. I got a bunch of calls waiting. God bless you. Thanks for your well wishes on my birthday, and thank you so much. Appreciate your friendship.
I do yours.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. Caller, I'll be right there, I promise. I just real quickly have to remind everybody about a big, really, really big tire sale going on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Now is the time to go buy tires. Right now, this minute, just wheel in to any of the 7 locations. Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Lane and Rupert, John on Pole Line in Twin, Randy on Overland and Burley. Big tire sale going on. Tires like the Wildcat AT2 on sale for your light truck and SUVs. Passenger car tires like the Ultra Z900 on sale. Don't miss this. I mean, get in there today and partake of this big tire sale at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, you young whippersnapper. You keep putting that old cowboy boot in the stirrup.
I did last night and felt kind of good. Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate that, and thank you for your card. I thank you much.
Well, you're more than welcome. And, you know, there is some good points to this government shutdown. The government isn't spending the money.
Well, that is true, Jerry, but right now, you know as well as I do, and you're kind of a student of politics, this has got to stop. There's a lot of people that work for the government that are needlessly being hurt.
Well, I'll agree with you there, but there's a lot of them that work for the government that don't need to be there. Heard them talking on the news last night. How come we got 15,000 employees in the EPA we don't need?
Yeah, there's no question that
some of this is getting brought out.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But I have a very dear friend that was here last night, and he and his wife were very special people to us. And he is a government worker, and right now basically out of work, and they've got bills, they've got mortgages and everything else. And I feel sorry for them because I lay the blame at Obama. It can be settled by noon today. Jerry, I appreciate you. I got to run to the news. Thank you so much.
Okay, if you don't negotiate, you never can win.
There you go, sir.
Good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate Jerry and his wife and all the people. Thank you for your well wishes. Thank you for the cards. Thank you for the emails and the gifts on my birthday. God bless each and every one of you. I appreciate it. I'll be back in 6 minutes. Don't go away. Oh, my. Kind of a cloudy morning outside. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, with a great big tire sale going on right now. And also some of our great advertisers like Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland and Burley. And they are going to be giving away a beautiful, over $400 painting. Our first prize on the Cow Pies and Coffee Cups drawing tomorrow on Thursday. Don't miss that, please. You might be the lucky winner. And a prize every week, all the way through October. Also, Western Way Services. Let's hear their good word.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Way Services is lending a hand, always at your
Our thanks go to Western Way Services for staying with us on this program and always lending a helping hand. They do, whether you need porta potties for a special event, a company party, reunion, whatever, or you need dumpsters to clean out that garage. Oh boy, do I ever. And if you need, of course, route service to get your garbage out of there, they're the best. Call 734-6969. That number again, 734-6969. Always at your disposal. Western Way Services. Really good people. All right, also don't forget, and I'm just so high on this young man because he does such a wonderful job at his staff. They're so professional and so responsible to helping you and your family. And that's Joel Heward and the staff at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Number to call, 436-5636. You know, they serve your family as you would want to be served. And they believe that every life is worth remembering, and always with high highest ethical standards and unquestioned integrity. Locally owned and operated, serving you. Please call them for pre-planning on funerals so that we all can help alleviate a lot of the stress and worry for our families. Call them at 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. Well, it's Wednesday, and a very, very dear friend on the phone with us from Colorado, and that's, of course, the writer of the Horse Sense blog, and that's Doug Johnson. Good morning, Dougie.
Well, good morning, Zeb. Happy birthday to you, my dear friend.
How did you know about that?
I know all sorts of things. You also have a wife who's good at keeping people informed. But besides that, I know a whole bunch of stuff, too.
Well, I appreciate that. That's very kind of you, my dear friend. And, Doug, I want to just be very blunt this morning about this issue of the shutdown. And you may not agree with my statements, and that's why we have a good conversation every week. I said earlier this morning, I put the entire blame, I put all the misery, I put all the grief, all the hardship that's being caused right now by this shutdown, not on Boehner and the Republicans, not on Harry Reid and the Democrats, but I put it on the head man, Barack Hussein Obama, who is supposed to be the president, is supposed to have the basically CEO powers of running the biggest business in this country, and that's our business, the United States. He's not doing the job as president, and all he wants to do is damn and condemn like he did yesterday in that 15-minute speech. Your thoughts?
Well, I would agree with you. I mean, people say he's incompetent. I don't think he is at all. This is part of his plan. I wrote about this in my book, No Tomorrows. I mean, this is all absolutely, fully predictable. Everything is a distraction to keep attention away from the things he's doing to destroy and damage our country. And that is the entire plan. And while I lay it at his feet as the figurehead of the progressives, I also lay it at the whole progressive movement because he is just the figurehead. There's somebody pulling his strings, too. He's just a puppet. And this is where Americans need to wake up. This is why, Zeb, in my Horse Sense blog this week, I wrote a piece that was different than what most people I knew would be writing about the shutdown or about Obamacare. And I make the point in there that this is all superficial. This is nothing. This is not the big issue. And I compare. In Reagan's time, I said that, and you may remember this, in the 80s, there was a popular phrase that went around saying, the future's so bright, you got to wear shades. And that was real popular. I lived in California at the time, and it was just so bright, and everybody was so optimistic. And I started to think about that this week, and I realized that, with Obama in this era, the future's so dark, I liken it to being darker than a black hole. It is terrible, and we really need to focus on what we need to do to take this country back.
Let me ask you a question, and I have openly on this radio many, many times, and my audience knows this is the truth, and you've listened, you've probably heard me say it. I have welcomed responsibility from any Democrat, anybody that supports this platform, anybody that supports this man, anybody that supports what he's trying to do. I said I will welcome you to come on this program in a very gentlemanly and or ladylike and gentleman fashion, and we will discuss why you support the platform. Just please have the courage to come on this program. Not one has had the backbone or the spine to call. Not one has had the backbone to try to arrange a time to come on my program. But they will backbite, they will snipe, they will hit you behind the ears. They won't do anything out in public. They're very, very timid, and they're cowards.
They absolutely are. This is right out of Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. That's their playbook, and this is exactly how they work. They hit and run. And if you talk to anybody who's a leftist, they cannot articulate their positions and defend them, so they always turn to personal attacks. They will say things, and the perfect example, because he's probably the biggest target they have, is Rush Limbaugh. And for years, Rush has struggled, like many of us do, with his weight, certainly something I struggle with. And so you cannot hear a comment about Rush Limbaugh usually without them saying, well, he's fat, or making some other negative comment about him. It always gets personal. This is why I get so defensive about people on the right who use personal attacks. We shouldn't lower ourselves to that. But the whole point I'm trying to make, Zeb, is that they cannot defend their arguments intellectually. So they have to go to personal attacks because they have no defense.
Well, let me ask you this, though.
Articulate. They don't have a reason for it.
Let me ask you this, though.
About feeling good, about fairness, and fairness is always defined by them, not by what's right and wrong. And so I'm really not surprised they don't come on your show. If you were a weak, mealy-mouthed moderate, they wouldn't have a problem because they could stand up to you, but you're not, and so they're not going to come on your show.
There's some of the Democratic leadership here in the southern part of Idaho, and I have called one woman in particular, and I called her up at her office. This has been quite some time ago, and I said, I really enjoy having you come on the air and discuss your platform and why you adhere to that platform and support Barack Hussein Obama for a re-election for president. And here's what she did. Come on your show? Are you kidding? And she hung up the phone. Now, is that professional?
Well, of course not, but they're not professional. I mean, it's that simple. They are not professional. And this is what's so sad. You know, when I wrote my book, No Tomorrows, it was written actually after I'd written my last business book, which was a book on leadership and about management. And when I wrote the book on management, I was called by some people in the media who got a hold of it and said, gee, do these leadership issues, you know, and that you lay out, these character traits, apply to politics? And I said, sure. And that started a whole series of things that eventually led to the Horse Sense blog and op-eds I do and eventually No Tomorrows and talking to people like you. But in my book, Many Are Called But Few Can Manage, I lay out the character traits of leaders for anything, politics or otherwise. And if you read those 16 character traits, Zeb, these people that we have in elected office don't meet those criteria at all. There are very few who do, and the few who do are on the right, they're not on the left. But even on the right, there's not very many. And I think that when I hear stories like this, I'm not surprised at all because they can't stand up to it. You know, you see a few of them who are paid big salaries to go on Fox and try and articulate their position, but even there they can't. They just get into personal attacks there, too.
You know, you said something earlier, and none of what we say on the air. I had somebody call me the other day and say, when you get Doug Johnson on the air or you get Frosty Woolridge on the air, you must have rehearsed that, what you're going to go into. And please tell my audience, Doug, we don't talk to each other unless it's right here on the air, most all the time. Is that true?
I think outside of talking on the air, Zeb, I don't think more than 2 or 3 times you and I have talked outside of that.
Well, there are people that think we rehearse what we're going to say, and you have rehearsed answers, etc. Well, that's balderdash. And the reason I brought that up is that people think that we're trying to lay out a pre-programmed idea, kind of a soft sell, if you will, to them to think that the Republicans and conservatives and the conservative ideals are all the way it should be, and we're literally, and I use this in the right connotation, damn the Democrats and their platform. That's not the case at all. I'm the kind of a guy that if there's a good Democrat out there that has the guts to come on this program and discuss the disparity between the two platforms, I will welcome them with open arms to sit in front of me and discuss it man to man. But therein lies the problem. They snipe, they gripe, and they complain, but they don't have the moxie to meet you head on and explain exactly why they stand up for a leftist platform.
Well, you're right, and you know I would go further. Anybody who reads my blog at thehorsesenseblog.com, let alone my other work, knows real fast I am not partisan because I attack both sides. I am not a registered Republican. I'm not a registered Democrat. I am an independent and have been for years. I have been in the Republican Party in the 1990s when the Senate Republicans refused to hold Bill Clinton accountable in the impeachment hearings, and I said I've had enough, and I walked away. Now, I do tend to vote Republican in most cases. I can't remember the last time I cast a ballot for a Democrat, but nonetheless, they still have to earn my vote, and I do feel that most Republicans today do not meet the standard of conservatism. They have moved to the left. They are progressives. The John Boehners, the Mitch McConnells, the list goes on. There are more of them in the party than there are the true conservatives like Michelle Bachmann and Ted Cruz and people like that. But I do believe that, Zeb, it's shows like yours, it's hopefully things like I write, and it's politicians like I just mentioned, Michelle Bachmann, Ted Cruz, people like that stand up, that give our nation hope. Because we have to remember, in the American Revolution, only about 1/3 of the country was supportive of a revolution. 1/3 didn't care, one-third, and these are rough numbers, 1/3 supported the king, and 1/3 were strong behind the idea of revolution, and yet they won. And so we have to remember, it does not take a majority to win. It takes a committed group to be consistent and push hard, and we can eventually win if we do that. But it's important, and that's why shows like yours are so important, and I can't say that enough, because As you know, I'm on shows all over the country. I've been on national shows, regional shows, local shows, and it's the regional and local shows that make the big difference in the country. It's not the national shows. The shows like yours make a difference because you're speaking to a local community about your local issues, not just national issues.
I appreciate that. Doug, hang tough just for a minute. I've got to pay some bills. When you think about life insurance, always think about Cameron and Siemens. The same with health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. Think about the professionals, and they are. They are very dedicated and responsive to your needs. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. I know these guys. I know them very well. They are committed to serving you. Dean and Todd, absolutely the pros. 436-4424. 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert, serving you. Doug, I want to ask you this, and I've got a couple of other topics I want to get into before we have to say goodbye this morning. But don't you find it absolutely crazy that they have had 3.5 years to work out a systematic plan for the advancement and the opening of Obamacare? They've had 3.5 years to kind of sit down and brainstorm what to do, how to do it, and how to get it done. And then you pick up the USA Today yesterday, and you turn to a headline that says, HHS puts final touches on website. The day that it's implemented, they put the final touches on the website. This is absolutely insane that this kind of a program would wait till the last day to put the final touches on it, Doug.
Well, I'm probably going to take a different position than most people would about this issue. And I'm not defending the Obama administration, but I will say this. The Supreme Court ruled on this case, I believe it was June 28th, 2012, so about a year and 4 months ago or something like that. So technically that's really how long they've had to make sure this can work. But, you know, whether it's that or 3 years, it doesn't matter. I will say two things. One is that partly I think a lot of these failures were intentional. They were planned as a distraction to keep people's mind off of other things, to keep people upset with Republicans in the shutdown. And this issue keeps them from looking at things like Benghazi and Fast and Furious and the IRS scandal and all these other things. I think this is all a distraction myself. But I will also say that I have run enough companies, and I'm talking, you know, large companies, $1 billion plus, that anytime you go through a major system change, which is what this is a computer system change or a new system, there are always, no matter how much planning and how much work you do ahead of time, there are always problems. So some level of problems I absolutely think are to be expected. And so I'm not real surprised. I think we'll see what's happening a year from now. People talk about, well, gee, you know, we should have delayed this thing a year, Zeb, and that would have bought us time to fix things. I don't think in a year we'll know how bad Obamacare is. It's going to take a few years for this to shake out, for doctors to leave their practices, for people to go through a lot of pain. I would say, it's 2013, I would say by 2016, 17, 18, we're really going to see the mess, but we're not going to see it for a few years.
I'm not going to argue or arbitrate those points because I think they're valid points, but I'm going to throw something back at you. I find it to be ambiguous, I find it to be very phony, and I find it to be a lie to the American public that if the Supreme Court passed on Obamacare and said it is, in very simplistic and layman's terms, legal, then after they ruled, there have been 19 amendments to what they ruled was legal. That's illegal, and I think those changes should not have occurred after the Supreme Court made the ruling. Your thoughts?
Well, I think you're right. In fact, you know, and this is the bottom line, and you know me, I'm a bottom line guy. Nobody is holding this administration and this president accountable. He has broken the law many, many times, violated the Constitution. Nobody is willing to hold him accountable. Our Congress is totally out to lunch. They will not do anything. This is where the voters need to get involved. We need people in office who are going to do the job that the legislative branch is supposed to do, and that is they're supposed to be the third branch of government, and they're supposed to be a counterbalance to the other two branches, so we can have a check and balance system, and we don't have that. We have nobody holding him accountable. Nobody's holding Harry Reid and the Senate accountable for not doing their job. They've violated the law for years by not passing budgets. And so our problem really boils down to we need to replace most of the people we have in power with people who will do the job.
I can't argue that at all. Now, I want to shift gears and go to another story that made me so mad this morning that I called some friends of mine that work at various think tanks in Washington, D.C. and New York and really voiced my opinion. You may not agree with my attitude on this, but with this shutdown, yesterday, a group of 92 Mississippi Gulf Coast Honor Flight veterans were refused to go into and observe and be a part of a great ceremony for them, the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C. And I admire Representative Steve King of Iowa and Michelle Bachmann of Minnesota saying, we're going to let them have access, along with Democratic Senator Tom Harkin even said, take down the barricades and let them in there. This is lunacy, and they put the barricades back up again this morning, stopping other veterans from going and observing, and brought in police on horseback. They are for riot control, and I say this is a perfect example of breaking the law for common sense. Would you agree or disagree?
Well, I guess what I would say is that this is a travesty. You know, we have people who have fought in the greatest war in our history and come out victorious, and we should be honoring them. But the big thing is that, these barricades are put up simply for show to try and make the point the government is shut down. That's all Obama's doing with this. This is garbage. This is just like shutting down the White House tours when the sequestration went into effect. It's all for, showboating and grandstanding. And I think it's tragic. I am absolutely behind the veterans going ahead and going into those memorials, and I applaud. I had heard Michelle Bachmann and Louis Gohmert were behind it. I didn't know Steve King. I figured he was probably there, but there's a number of people from Congress who were there and helped them through, and I think that's great. And sadly, it's sad they have to do that, but I'm glad they did. And I think that we as Americans should support it. And if anything happens today, that these people are arrested or whatever, we should be raising a stink with Washington over the fact these people are being treated this way. These people are literally national icons and heroes. We should be admiring them and looking up to them and honoring them, not pushing them around and treating them like they're criminals. And so, Zeb, I agree with you. I think it's a terrible thing that happened.
One of the veterans was quoted, and he was in a wheelchair, and he said, we didn't come this far not to get in. And I said in the first hour, I would be there on my crutches. I will be there to knock those barricades down. I would be there to look at that police officer on his mounted horse, riot controlling, and on that horse that is not going to budge. I would be the first one to say, you step around me, wheelchair vet, because I'll draw the attention and the ire of this policeman. I think this is absolutely, it's a crime. It's an insane crime against our vets and against our memories of all that they've given for this country.
Well, absolutely. You know, we saw in the 60s when you and I were in our earlier years, we saw these protests where people would do sit-ins and whatever, and the police would have to carry them away as they'd try and, block buildings and stuff and protest against the Vietnam War and such. I really think it's time that we see people on the right, probably of our generation, that going to Washington in a situation like this and doing the same thing. We could be doing a sit-in there, blocking the police from impacting these veterans, creating a pathway for them to go see the memorial.
Absolutely.
You've got to wonder how anybody working on the side of law enforcement that was ordered to do that could even do it. The minimum they should do is call in sick, and they should probably quit their jobs, because this is just an offense to America, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and I don't know if you're into country music, but Aaron Tippett is a country artist, and he had a song a couple of years ago, and it was basically, if you can't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And that's where we are in this nation today, Doug.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Zeb.
Well, I just really appreciate having you on the air. I wished I had more time, and I'm going to have to make arrangements so that we can have more time on this program for the incompetency, the idiocy, and the insanity that's going on in Washington, D.C. that, quite frankly, does not have to happen if we'd have proper leadership.
Well, you're right, but all that said, Zeb, I'm going to wind this up with one last thing to you. It's your birthday, so don't let the morons in Washington drive your blood pressure too high today. Go enjoy your birthday, and because the problems are going to still be here tomorrow.
I'm going to have an extra piece of cream cheese vanilla layer cake in your honor. Thank you so much.
Okay, enjoy that cake.
All right, God bless you, Doug. Thanks much.
Thanks, Deb.
Dear friend with the Horse Sense blog and author of the book No Tomorrows, Doug Johnson, on our program. I really have a lot of respect for that man. Doug Johnson in Colorado. Thank you so much. Don't forget Burley Glass with our dear friend Gentle Ben. This is a good old... You know what? If you look up the category, Good Old Boys, you're going to see his name there. It says Gentle Ben at Burley Glass. Telephone number 678-1459. Working hard to provide great service to all the communities in Magic Valley. Burley Glass with the atrium windows, and they can really increase your energy efficiency and keep the heat in your house instead of letting it go outside. Absolutely. Burley Glass, 1029 Overland Avenue in Burley. Call them at 678-1459. And before we go any further, I want to remind you, too, about Let's Ride, where the fun is sold. You better believe it. Hey, they've got the 2014 snowmobiles there. They're ready to go. They're ready for snow. They're looking at the hills and saying, yeah, buddy, come on. And they've got all the 2014 ATVs in stock. And, of course, don't forget, one thing I keep reminding you, you're probably finished with your watercraft on the rivers and lakes. Well, don't forget to get them serviced so they don't freeze up for the winter. Take them into Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. They're open Tuesdays through Saturdays. Let's Ride, where the fun is sold. I want to remind you that tomorrow, what do we got cooking tomorrow? We're going to have Los Angeles attorney James Herson on talking about the left and how they're trying to cover up a lot of what's going on with the Obama administration right now. There's a lot of people that have egg on their faces in Hollywood, and we're going to find out more about that tomorrow. Also, real quick, you can save a lot of money. You can beautify your home, you can make it much more comfortable, and you can have the best carpet available, which is the Smart Strand carpet at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. I mean, you talk about a kid-proof carpet. It's rhino-proof. It's even horse-proof with my horse splits. This carpet is unbelievable. Lifetime stain resistance, lifetime anti-static, 25 years abrasive wear, 15 years texture retention. You're going to love the Smart Strand carpet, and they got all the colors, all the shades, all the different textures of Smart Strand carpet for you. At Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to present a new program, and I'm really looking forward to this. It's called In the Driver's Seat, presented by Scouts CarQuest Centers in Rupert, Burley, and Hayburn, and co-hosted by the Answer Man to all your questions, my buddy Jeff Poole. And don't forget, for all your automotive needs, every detail matters, and you'll find what you need at Scouts in Rupert, Burley, and Hayburn. Good morning, Jeff Poole. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Zeb. How are you?
I am fantastic, and I really appreciate the fact. Let's give kind of a preview of what we're going to be doing on this program every week. Jeff does a wonderful job and absolutely knows the automotive industry, and we're going to be answering questions that you folks send in, and we've got a lot of questions that have come in already about your cars, your pickups, your SUVs, how to take care of them, what happens with different maintenance things, and you're going to kind of be the answer man. So are you ready to go, my dear friend?
Let's do this.
All right, I love that. Let's rock and roll. Jeff Poole, here's the first question we had sent in by a gentleman that said, how often should I have my brakes inspected and checked? And he says he pulls a stock trailer with a lot of cattle almost every day of the week, and he just wants to know, what about his pickup? How often should he have his brakes inspected?
Well, that's a great question, Zeb. You said it right there. It's severity of use. Typically, for example, when you come in for an oil service, we do check your brakes. We check everything that way, every time. As far as, do it yourself or, basically, you want to check those, again, about every 3,000 miles or so. It depends on severity.
Okay.
If you're pulling a lot, if you're mountainous, you want to check those more often. Of course, then brakes are going to get worked harder. They're going to wear faster.
Now, my question would be, and along with that, I pull horses a lot of the time, and when you start to hear little groans and little tweaks and everything, is that right away a sign of a problem with your brakes, or what's the deal there?
Well, it's, the brake system is it's been designed to make noise. They actually have a little squealer that's built into the pad that indicates when you're getting low. Once you hear that, it's definitely time to, you're getting beyond inspection there. It's time to replace.
Now, I also want to throw something in here, too. I was talking to a guy the other day that pulls a trailer with about 3 or 4 horses in it, and he doesn't have any kind of a brake setup for the trailer going into his pickup. Boy, that's got to be hard on those pickup brakes, isn't it?
It is, and that's actually, a safety hazard as well. Again, let's say you're mountainous, you're putting all that heat in them brakes, and, as brakes heat like that, they, you get brake fade, which can lead to brake loss. You definitely want to have electric brakes on your trailers if you're going to be, pulling them kind of weight or, equipment, anything that you're pulling that's heavy.
All right, now, you folks over at Scouts, you can take care of setting them up on the electric brakes and making sure that everything's coordinated between the trailer and the pickup?
Absolutely.
Okay. Next question comes in from a gentleman that says, what do I do to check, and how do you check the antifreeze? How do I know it's adequate to make sure my car is ready for winter?
I'll touch on a couple of things there. We mentioned this before in our last segments, the importance of getting the proper antifreeze. There's so many types of antifreezes out there. It's not run to the shelf anymore and just grab a bottle of antifreeze. That's probably the first key element there, is making sure you're getting the proper one. Secondly is they do make an antifreeze tester. You check that. You want to be, the ideal mix is a 50-50 mix. That's going to give you ample coverage, approximately around 34 below or so with the 50-50 mix.
How do you know, though, Jeff, you're getting the proper antifreeze? Explain that a little bit.
Well, again, you can call us. All of our staff here is able to, provide that information, the OE information, your owner's manual in the vehicle. Either of those are great sources for that information.
All right. Are you saying possibly that there's some antifreezes on the market today around the United States that say they're going to do this, but they can't live up to it?
Not at all. I mean, they go through, pretty strenuous testing and whatnot. It's just making sure you get the proper one for your vehicle.
Okay. And a lady wrote in with another question, and I love this question. She's very forthright and honest. She said, when a garage mechanic says that I need this or I need that, and because certain things are beyond repair, how do I know when they're telling me the truth?
Well, I guess that's easy to answer. Scouts have been in business for 64 years. There's a reason for that. You got to be able to trust your shop that you go to. Make sure you're going to a reputable shop. We definitely don't repair anything that doesn't need repaired. If we see other issues than what the car came in for, that's a service that we provide to make sure that customer has a good, safe vehicle and reliable vehicle.
Okay. Another question that comes in, and then we're going to do a commercial break right after this. This man wrote in and said, I got to see if I can, it's handwritten, I don't like these new headlights. Are we being forced into using and buying them? I don't like to meet them head on because they blind me.
Well, there is a variety of headlights out there for sure. The stock Chevy, Ford, Dodge, if you will, you can pretty much stand those. Them are the ones you see coming at you look like normal headlights, and then there's your performance headlights. Them are the ones that the guy's referring to. That's, again, they're, a performance upgrade in a headlight. Most OEMs do not put that in the car factory.
I see. To me, my own personal response to that question is, I don't like those new, they seem brighter, they seem more sharp, if you will, and I have trouble driving at night anyway without a special pair of glasses. Boy, those lights really do have a tendency to cause my vision to be blurred.
Yeah, they're great for the driver, but they're terrible for the oncoming guy. It's one of them options, I guess. I don't know how to really answer that. Them lights are somewhat dangerous, but as for the driver, they're great. They give you excellent vision.
Okay, now I'm going to help you, and you're going to help me do the commercial right now for Scows CarQuest, our first initial maiden voyage here this morning. Now, you've got 3 locations, Scows CarQuest in Rupert, the CarQuest over in Burley, and Scows Truck Center. Tell us about those 3 locations, all serving Magic Valley and the surrounding area. Tell us about them.
Well, again, we do have 3 locations, 518 Overland and Burley, and they have they do automotive paint over there, full machine shop, driveline service. That's kind of their specialty over there as far as truck and auto parts, equipment. Our Heyburn location, they specialize more in the heavy-duty end of things. We custom make U-bolts, real heavy into the suspension stuff for the trucks. Also, JCB equipment, Mahindra tractors. We're pretty diverse over there as well. And then over here in Rupert, of course, we've got our repair facilities over here, radiator shop. So that's kind of the specialties between each of them stores.
All right, and by the way, talking about those Mahindra tractors, those really are some kind of a tractor. And I understand you've got 0% interest for 84 months. Is that right, on all models?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. I know you were twisting my arm a little bit the other day because you knew I was interested, weren't you?
Yeah, me and Deanne's talked to Zeb. She said that I'm not going to tell you what she said.
Okay. It's my birthday. I'll go buy one. Hey, we've got one time for one more question, and here's a question I think a lot of people can affiliate with and assimilate to possibly the problems. This gentleman wrote in and he said, I wasn't paying attention. I saw that when I checked my oil, I was down a quart. I put the wrong weight oil in my engine. How much damage did I cause?
That's an excellent question, and I'm glad you bring it up. Understanding the weight of oil is kind of important, especially with winter time coming on. A lot of people just know it's 1030, but they don't understand what 1030 is. So let's take that and say 1030. Well, 10 is the weight of that oil when it's cold. The 30 portion of that is when it's hot. So let's say if you require a 1030 motor oil and he put in, say, a 530 motor oil, he's okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's still got 30 weight motor oil in there. Again, with temperatures getting colder and whatnot, you want a lighter oil in that thing when it's easier for startup, less wear and tear on the motor. But at the end of the day, once he's at operating temperature, he's still going to be a 30 weight. So chances are he's not going to hurt nothing.
Is there, Jeff, in this case, if you will, a mixing to the point where the degree of difference won't really cause a problem?
Well, as long as you're, within, again, you stay in that viscosity, you're a 30 weight or a 40 weight or a 50 weight, it really don't matter if you're a 0.60 or a 5.60 or a 50.60, at the end of the day, you're still a 60 weight oil, but, what we have seen running too thick of oil in cold conditions and it can't transfer enough oil, therefore it causes engine damage.
All right. You know what? You did pretty darn good on our maiden voyage. Jeff Poole over at Scows. You're in the driver's seat with the best of auto care, truck parts, and service with Scows CarQuest in Rupert, Scows CarQuest in Burley, and Scows Truck Center in Heyburn. Stop in and see these great folks today. Jeff, absolutely great. Thanks. I'll look forward to next week. Have a good one, my friend.
You too. Happy birthday, Zeb.
Thanks, buddy. See you later. Take care. Scows in the driver's seat, presented by Scows CarQuest Centers and Rupert, Burley, and Heyburn. Very informative. Now, send your questions in. A lot of people sent me some really great questions, and I appreciate it. And Jeff Poole will be the answer man. Looking forward to having more programs in the future. So give us those questions. I'm going to take just a little minute here and say thank you to Perkins Restaurant and Bakery, 800 North Overland in Burley. We had our lunch bunch for the first time over at Perkins. It was phenomenal. The food was delicious. The service was great, and I really appreciate them. We had our maiden voyage again, if you will, last Thursday, and it was absolutely wonderful. And they have a great idea. If you haven't had anything from their bakery, they have a bakery. Woo-hoo-hoo! Ooh. Have you ever had that Neapolitan silk pie? Oh my goodness, that'll just knock your socks off. Delicious. Or the raspberry pie or the cream mammoth muffins. Those are absolutely out of this world. And they got a great idea. If you're having a school fundraiser and you want an idea on what to sell, get the pies from Perkins. Oh my, you'll hit a home run with those. Perkins Restaurant and Bakery, 800 North Overland in Burley. Let's say hello right now to a lovely lady that's been sitting over there so quiet this morning, and that does have a tendency to bother me a little bit. Good morning, Gina Jameson. How are you?
Why are you so bothered? Do you think I'm planning and plotting against you?
It does cross my mind.
No, don't worry. I've been really, really busy. A lot of people wanting to get on to wish you a happy birthday, and I'm expecting one special phone call here in just a minute.
Oh, really?
Yes.
While you're waiting for that call, may I also alert somebody to a problem that has come up already with Obamacare? And it's the scams.
Yes.
Have you heard about this?
No, I have not.
Well, be real careful, and I suggest maybe you tell your audiences on the CAT also that there is now a scamming situation with a multiple amount of people calling up elderly people on their telephones saying that all you have to do to be rushed through for a sign-up of Obamacare is pay a small upfront fee to these people, and they will sign you up, and you'll be at the top of the list. Hang up the phone.
And don't fall for every person that is claiming to be with the federal government.
Yes.
This is prime for scams, so please do your research, do your homework. Talk to people locally here, that are within the exchange, but do not give any sort of information.
And
on
the key to the problem, Gina, is this.
Yes.
Obamacare and its personnel are not going to be calling individuals.
They won't.
Absolutely. So thank you. We have a call, I understand.
We have two.
Oh, really? Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
So is it me or is it somebody else?
I think it's you, caller, because I am talking to you. Good morning.
Oh, good morning. And I was going to say, so I feel privileged to get a call from the president to sign up for health care.
Yeah, and I also can walk without crutches, too.
Yes, sir, yeah. So, Zeb, I wanted to wish you a happy birthday. This is Charlie Howell at Jerome. So some little birdie told me you were getting older, which is a good thing.
Well, Charlie, you have been a dear friend of mine for many, many years, and for the audience that doesn't recognize the name, Charlie's one of the top people in politics in Jerome County as a commissioner, and he's done so much for Jerome County, and he's also a doggone good old cowboy roping partner, and that means a lot, Charlie, and it's nice to get older instead of the alternative.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't want to be reading everybody's name in the paper. That's your other alternative. So it's always nice to have friends that hang in there and keep antagonizing the rest of us.
The word antagonize is something you will not see me leave out of my vocabulary. I'll keep it there every day. I appreciate it.
Okay, happy birthday and many more.
God bless you, Charlie. Thank you.
Thanks. You bet.
And if anything, I've been blessed with some of the greatest friends that a person could have. Might not be the wealthiest person with money in my pocket, but I'm the wealthiest, richest person with the best of friends. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Zeb. Happy birthday to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you might not recognize the voice, but I'll tell you who it is. He had a chance to be the top singer on the Jack Benny program many years ago. He turned it down to stay right here in Burley, Idaho. Keith, God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I used to sing on the radio as a little boy, but my mother made me get off because I was scratching the varnish.
Never fails. That was really nice of you to call, and I'm one of your older friends.
Thank you.
God bless you, Keith. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
That was nice. That man has such an ability to sing, and he has been a part of our show for a lot of things, whether it's my birthday, and you can bet that in just a couple of months, he's going to be a part of our Christmas show again. Absolutely a valuable friend. Thank you so much. Hey, we've got to have a weather forecast. And the weather forecast, and then we'll take some more of your calls. Weather this hour is brought to you by our dear friends at Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls with Ryan Horsley and the crew. They've got all your knives and guns and ammo and reloading kits and all the holsters, everything for you at Red's Trading Post. So please stop in and see Ryan Horsley and the crew today. Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. Here now, Michael Rogers Weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. To share this with you, not to complain, but to give you a reality as far as the weather is concerned. When I go through the National Weather Service to check the forecast model to kind of look down the road at what's happening, I can't do that because of a government partial shutdown. Our weather for today, partly sunny, 60 for the high. 36 for the overnight low. We'll start to see some rain tonight going into tomorrow, tapering off late tomorrow night, and then we have a nice fall, cool weekend. So enjoy the day, enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you've got.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. Red's Trading Post, our sponsor of Michael Rogers Weather this hour, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Talking a minute ago about scams, and be really careful, folks. Already this morning, I was listening on the news, and then I called some folks back in New York City, one of the think tanks that we get our information from, and they said, yes, there is a major scamming operation going on right now already. About Obamacare. If someone calls you and they say, well, I'm with Obamacare or the Health Exchange or whatever title they put on it, and they say that for a small fee we can put you on the top of the list and take care of everything you need, get you signed up, and you'll be all taken care of, just give us this information, etc., hang up the phone. Don't give them anything. Don't even give them your name. Give them anything. Hang up the phone. Please. Be very, very careful of scammers, and especially now that they've added another bullet to their gun, if you will, through Obamacare. Be very, very cautious. And I know that Gina is going to be staying on top of it over at the station with any news that breaks on this, but be careful of the scammers, please. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Zeb. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, Lorna, thank you so much. I assume this is Lorna, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, God bless you. And again, I want to thank you for that gift. Now, I can't get it on my webcam and twist the camera around right now, but that spur on the boot that you gave me and everything is over on my wall. So when you stop into the house sometime, you'll see it, okay?
Okay, and I'll do that.
I appreciate it. Thank you. That's very kind of you, and I certainly hope that your wish of many more is absolutely a necessity, I hope.
Me too, and good, healthy ones.
Oh, thank you, Lorna. God bless you. I appreciate your friendship.
And I appreciate yours so much.
Stop in and see us. Thank you so much.
You have a great day.
All right, I will. Thank you. Bye-bye. What a nice lady. All you folks, thank you very much. And my beautiful bride got up this morning, and she made me a cream cheese layer cake. Oh, I love vanilla cream cheese layer cake. And it's sitting in the refrigerator, has not been touched, and it's hard for me to stay away from that. Gina, I'm telling you, during the break, I wanted to go out and kind of, do the dipping with the finger. And now she's going to bring it in.
Not do that. You better. She'll slap your hand.
Now, wait a minute. What are you doing with the cake here? Why give it to me now? Happy birthday. Well, listen, Gina, can you get on the webcam and see me holding the cake up?
Here, just give me just a second.
Okay, I'm going to get it on there. I'm going to turn it around so you can see it. And she's had it chilled in the refrigerator, and look at that.
It's beautiful?
No, it's beautiful now, but in just a matter of moments, it may not be.
Well, that's kind of par for the course when it comes to you, and, I'm not going to spill the beans.
You're not going to spill the beans? I didn't know there was any beans to be spilled.
Oh, there's beans to be spilt, but I am not going to be the one to do it.
Oh, really? I'm going to give this back to Deanne so she can stick it back in the refrigerator. You worry me. You're worrying me that you know something that's going on, and my wife knows something that's going on, but you're not sharing with me what's going on.
No. Well, because we ladies stick together.
I guess you sure do. I'm going to talk a little bit about Solyndra. You remember Solyndra?
Yes, I do.
The solar company that took a lot of our money and flushed it down the toilet?
Yes.
Did you hear what Energy Secretary Moniz said this morning? If you probably followed this already on the news.
Well, do tell.
He said that Solyndra and the failure of Solyndra and all the money that was lost of taxpayer money on Solyndra, stupid green energy, he said that was a success. You're getting the response that I anticipated. He said that it was a success because it showed the advancement of more money needed for new technology and going into the future with that new technology. Now, make sense out of that, would you please?
There is no sense to be made. Whoa. Improve on the technology that's already there because it's, apparently it failed.
Apparently it failed, as have all the other green energy stupidity that this administration has paid for.
Yes.
But to say that it created an advancement for more money needed, for more technology, so it was a success, you've got to turn into one of my college professors and explain to me, what in the world does that mean?
I think it's just a rhetoric, and he's just kind of running around the corner so he can get more money to throw away?
I totally agree with you. But, to say that anything that costs us as taxpayers millions and millions and millions of dollars, and then to say that that's a success because it helped advance the cause for more money to be spent on technology, why get into a prize fight every day if you know you're going to get whooped?
And here's my thing about the whole Solyndra deal and just, all of green energy in general. I do think it is needed in certain areas. They do need to upgrade the technology, and for Pete's sake, quit buying stuff from China.
Oh, so well said. I could not agree with you more. I'm just absolutely livid that the American public is not standing up and taking their shoes off and beating on the desk and demanding better leadership with more for us, America, instead of sending everything over to somebody else overseas.
Honestly, and here's my thought, and you may agree and or disagree with this, I don't know. My thought on that is, had those products been made here in the United States with pride and with quality products, probably would have had a better outcome. But since we decided to spend that money elsewhere in a different country that will never see any of that money again, of course it failed.
Yeah. I just think this is total lunacy that you could conjure up some kind of a thought to the American public that wasting that money, throwing it down a rat hole, was great because now it proves we need more money for advancement of more technology.
Yeah, no, they have enough of my money, thank you. I don't want to give them any more.
Hey, by the way, I was also going to mention to you about health care. Did you know that this shutdown and all the blames that are finger-pointing and everything else that's going on, did you know it also affects football?
Yeah, and actually it's affecting the Air Force and Navy game.
And the Army?
Yep,
Yeah.
It is affecting, and it's like such lunacy, such... Can we get back to regular business? Can you guys just close yourself in on a room and seriously do not come out until you hammer it out for the best of the American people?
And there's again where it's our fault. It's the general public's fault. There can be those pundits that say, well, I'm going to blame Boehner and the Republicans, and I'm going to blame Ted Cruz and the Republicans in the Senate. I'm going to blame them. Wait a minute. There's one man that can control the whole ball of wax, as I said, by noon today, and that is President Obama himself. He's supposed to have the leadership capabilities and qualities to lead a nation. He can take the time to confer with Iranian president. He can take the time to confer with any leader anywhere in the world at any time. Why can't he make these people sit in a room, come up with a somewhat negotiable type product, and end this?
Okay. I am going to say that in a way, the American public is kind of to blame for this, myself included. You want to know why? We didn't do enough research on the man who's in the Oval Office.
Absolutely.
So in that respect, yeah, I kind of am to blame for that because I was hoping for change, but I wasn't hoping for this.
Yeah.
I was hoping for a government shutdown. So in that respect, yeah, I kind of am to blame for this.
And you know something, yesterday, I'll reiterate what I said earlier. A very dear friend of mine works for the government, and right now he's out of work. He's out of money coming in. He's got a mortgage. He's got his bills. And I have nothing but sympathy for that situation because it's a situation they can't just lump it together and say, damn Republicans, because that's not the case. I'm looking at the head Oval Office, and I'm looking at a man that stood up in the Rose Garden yesterday with complete disdain and divisiveness, and I don't see him settling anything.
This is what kind of scares me. My little brother is in Afghanistan, and he works for a government contractor. His paycheck is pretty much cut off.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's stuck over there.
Absolutely, and it's so sad. I got to quickly get this word in, and then I'm going to turn it over to you.
Hey, quick question for you.
Yeah.
Since it's your birthday, outro song for the hour. Got a request?
Aaron Tippett and Tippin, pardon me, and the if you can't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
You got it.
Thanks much. I'll talk to you then. I'll do the commercial next hour. Go ahead.
Well, hold on just a second. I got to cue it up.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll do the commercial. Ramsey Heating and Electric is offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, or heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. Call them at 678-0459. At Ramsey's, they have warm winters and cool summers. And now, here's Aaron Tippett. I just had the nicest visit from John and Melody Bond, thank you, and gave me a very, very nice birthday gift and the card. Thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful people, the Bonds over in Rupert. Appreciate them. We're back in hour number 3. I'm kind of discombobulated today because so many nice people have called or stopped in, and I appreciate that on my birthday. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome back to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with our great friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. And don't forget Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get a hold of them today, 734-6969. Want to remind you, too, about the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Oh, they've got specials every day for your dining. Delicious. Oh, it's fantastic. Listen to this today. The senior special, Monday through Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m., only $5.95. They have chicken cordon bleu with mashed potatoes, veggies, and super salad. You're going to love it. The people are great. The food is delicious at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Really nice people. You know, when you talk about really nice people, that leads us right up to, and he sent me on a card, he said, introduce me as really nice people. And that's attorney Grant Gerber from Elko, Nevada. Really nice person. Good morning, sir.
Well, I try not to be too nice, Zeb.
Yeah, but you're a lawyer. We expect that.
Well, I appreciate you letting me come on your show again. It's a good one.
Well, I want to tell you something, Grant. You have done a great job and a great service to not only the West, but also farmers and ranchers. You really care. You've jumped into a big puddle of water and have always been there to try to help them. And we had you on the program about 2 months ago or 3 months ago, and we were talking about legislation of transferring federal lands into the state control and also the sage grouse issue. So bring us up to speed as to what we're going to talk about this morning.
Well, I stepped out of the multi-state conference that's going on right now. We've got legislators and attorney generals and different people from 14 different states downstairs right now. And we're charting and planning how we're going to take the next step. We now have 5 states that have passed legislation that are moving each state forward in this transfer of public lands, transfer of land from the federal government to the states. And it's a it's a project whose time is now, and with all of the troubles that the federal government is causing these 11 western states, we need to do it, we have to do it, we are going to do it. And if anybody questions that, they ought to consider the fact that in the eastern states, the average amount of federal land is like 3 or 4%. In the western states, it's well over 50%. In Nevada, it's over 87%. And as a result, the schools suffer, our whole economy suffers, and in a minute I'd like to talk to you about how the wildlife suffer as a result of the federal government's actions on these federal lands.
Let me ask you.
That's kind of an overview. We've got a whole delegation here from Idaho that's down. I've met several of them, but I'm bad at names. But we got state senators and assemblymen and several county commissioners from Idaho, and and we're gathering to figure out how to take the next step.
All right, now let me ask you a couple of questions here, Grant. First and foremost, what about the naysayers? What about the people that say, oh no, Idaho or Utah or Nevada, they're not able to manage these lands, it's going to be too much of a cost burden, etc. What do you say to the naysayers that want to keep things at a status quo with the federal government in control?
Well, I always like to use examples. North Dakota has its land. It only has about 4 or 5% federal land, and it's just across the border from Montana, and they have the lowest unemployment rate in the nation. They've got more money for their schools than any other state, and right across the border is Montana, and they're struggling, and just as all the other western states are. So when people say that to me, I say, well, take a look at the examples. But it just makes sense. The federal government has reduced grazing, eliminated logging, prevents oil and gas development, prevents mining in many areas, and again, in a minute or two, I want to talk to you about the wildlife.
Absolutely. Another question that comes up, and then I'm going to let you have it to go into each part and parcel of what this means for our state and other states. But I would imagine that the environmentalists are probably standing in a corner right now, just tearing their hair out and gnashing their teeth and absolutely hating this idea of having these lands turned back to the states. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that more and more of the environmentalists are coming over and recognizing, especially when they recognize the carnage that the federal government is imposing on the wildlife. And as they come to understand that, they'll recognize the only solution big enough is to transfer the land to the states to save wildlife.
Okay, so in other words, what you're seeing is kind of a transition of thought to where they said, oh, leave it the way it is with the federal government having the bureaucracy and the control. Now they're starting to see that actually better management actually suits their program, correct? There's a beginning movement in that direction. Most of the environmentalists are a little afraid to speak out and say that, because that's been exactly the opposite of what they've learned and what they've thought. But the thinking ones among them recognize that wildlife are the biggest, that wildlife suffers the most because of federal management. Absolutely. Now let's talk about, and I can use my state as an example. We're seeing a depletion of the elk herds. We're seeing a depletion of the deer in certain areas. We're seeing fire danger at its extreme with mismanagement of federal lands as compared to state management. Okay, that sounds like a really good thing. What do we have to do as private citizens to get on the bandwagon and support this movement for conveying a lot of the federal lands over to state control?
Well, the first thing, everybody ought to get on the American Lands Council .org website and get educated on these issues, and then everybody ought to join. This is a grassroots movement that began at the county level and is now working its way up to the states. But we need help. There was 18 months ago, 4 of us got this thing started, and it's really going. I mentioned the conference that we've got going here in the hotel right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we're moving forward.
No,
I still want to talk about wildlife when you finally get to it.
No, go ahead right now, because I think this would be a very appropriate time. Let's talk about the wildlife issue. Let's talk about the depletion of our wildlife. How would this plan benefit our state and other states with their wildlife management?
Yeah, I'm going to, there's in several ways, but I'm going to address one specific issue right and stick with it for a few minutes. California did have the dubious distinction of being the number one in burning the most wildlife each year for the period from 2000 to 2012. But in 2012, the leadership passed to Idaho. Idaho is now number one in the nation for most animals burned.
No, that's terrible.
Past California. Last year, Idaho had 1.6 million acres burned, and that computes on a very conservative basis to over 4.8 million animals that burned in Idaho in 2012. Already this year in Idaho, there's been over 600,000 acres burned, so that's 1.8 million that's burned this year. And it's all because of the mismanagement of the federal government. There were fires previous, but because of the management of the federal government, the fires have just exploded. I've studied Nevada the most because that's where I'm from, and that's where I started this study. And before 1950 in Nevada, an average of less than 10,000 acres burned in Nevada annually. But then, because of the policies of the federal government, that increased by 40 times, from an average of 10,000 acres a year, less than 10,000 acres a year, to over 400,000 acres a year.
Wow.
Which computes to 1.6 million, 1.2 million animals each year. And so we've jumped in Nevada from an average of less than 30,000 animals burning each year to over 1.2 million. And so the Sierra Club people in Nevada are beginning to look at this. The other environmentalists are beginning to recognize that their plan to eliminate all grazing was counterproductive because by allowing all that fuel out there, all the grass without grazing it off, you just have firestorm year after year. Like southern Idaho, just across the border from Nevada, is burning every year. Some years it burns a lot more, but there's areas there that have now burned 2 or 3 times. There's places in Nevada in the last 20 years that have burned 4 times. And yet, the agencies, the federal government, continues to reduce grazing. And so the environmentalists are starting to recognize that, and I think that they'll recognize that the only solution big enough is to transfer these lands to the federal government to save wildlife.
It's really interesting, Grant, and if the analogy that I'm about ready to give you is not correct, tell me so. But you have a real oxymoron here. You have the federal government almost ready to put the sage grouse on the endangered species list, but at the same time, through their mismanagement and their lack of fire control with all the combustibles and trying to eliminate grazing, on the one hand, they're trying to save the sage grouse, and on the other hand, they're actually trying to kill it.
Zeb, you couldn't have said it any better. And to demonstrate that, we have 3 pilot projects going now on sage grouse. And it's the first time in the 40-year history of the Endangered Species Act that local government, and I'm a county commissioner in Elko County, Nevada, that local government and private property owners have gotten together to develop a project to demonstrate that the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has got it wrong. And one of those biggest issues is fire. And like you said, they wring their hands, the federal government wrings their hands about these terrible fires and pleads for another air tanker. But the key is to reduce the fuel. Mm-hmm. And their answer to reducing fuel is non-existent. They have no policy that will reduce fuel. And that's why we started that Smoke the Bear project. Mm-hmm. And did I ever tell you about Smoke the Bear?
Absolutely. We had you on the program many times on that.
Okay, well, so Smoke the Bear is the best, the first and best hope for sage grouse and wildlife is the transfer of lands. But Smoke Bear is taking that message into the schools, because he points out that the federal government is not getting rid of the fuel, and as a result, a lightning strike hits and it all burns up, and it doesn't matter how many air tankers you've got. If you've got 2 or 3 fires going and a lot of wind, I don't know if there'd be enough tankers out there to stop the fire.
Well, let me ask you this, to explain it to my audience in layman's terminology so I can understand it. What would be the process of taking the lands in a shifting of control? What has to be done? Is there a large sum of money involved? Is there paperwork involved for our state legislature, etc.? What has to happen for the transferring of these lands?
Well, it's been done before. This is not the first time that this problem has surfaced in the United States. And so we're following that pattern that was developed in 1829 by the then Western states. The then Western states were Indiana, Illinois, Missouri. Those were, that tier of states. And when those states were begun, they had the same enabling acts that we have in the Western states today. Mm-hmm. And they concluded that the federal government had to release that land. So they banded together, and they refused to take no for an answer. And then they went and got eastern states to recognize that it was a big mistake for these lands to be held by the federal government. And so, as a result, the western states at that time, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, those states, went to the eastern states and got them to agree. And so then the lands were transferred to the states as they should have been under the doctrine of the U.S. Constitution and the Northwest Ordinance. And it happened that way all the way till you get to Colorado. And once they got to Colorado, the federal government wasn't pressured by the western states until in the last 20 or 30 years, the western states have started banding together and working at it. But until last year and this year, there was no really organized, cohesive group. And like we have now gotten South Carolina to pass a resolution supporting the transfer of these lands. We got Kentucky looking at it, Mississippi. And we are going to now continue to work on those eastern states because, see, those eastern states, everybody worries about taxes. Mm-hmm. Well, the eastern states send money to the West because of the failures of the federal government.
Yeah.
In other words, all these fires and stuff are extremely expensive. Well, a lot of that money for fighting those fires comes from the east, and it's hidden. But if you break it out, the West is taking money from the east.
I see.
And that is going to be the biggest way that we're going to be able to convince the Easterners, and we're convincing them. But another big issue is all the animals that are burning.
Absolutely.
And then all the pollution that comes from the West to the East. We've been doing research in the years 2002 to 2012. There was 4,095 million pounds of pollution produced in these western fires.
Okay, now I'm going to interrupt you.
Than all of agriculture, mining, timber, oil and gas, power plants, manufacturing combined.
Okay, now I'm going to interrupt you right there, Grant, because I've got a limited amount of time left. You've been in the radio business long enough to understand I've got certain commitments. I've got a caller waiting with a question, and I want to get that question in before I have to wrap up this segment. So stand by. Caller, go ahead, please. They hung up, unfortunately. Listen, Grant, real quick, I need to ask you this question. What about Washington, D.C.? What about the Obama administration? What about the Department of Interior? Are they throwing up a smokescreen saying that they're not going to allow this?
Well, see what we're doing. We believe that the real power is in the county commissions, the people at the lowest level, the common citizen, and we believe that as they and their county commissioners and their state representatives, and as we get to congressmen and senators, and we take this message, we will win.
Mm-hmm.
Because when Congress finally acts, the president has to go along.
All right, now right there.
The problem is that we haven't had a Congress that is doing anything to stop him or stop the Obama administration from doing what they've been doing. So, but as they think about more and more animals burned, the huge taxes that are imposed on the Easterners to take care of these issues in the West, we're going to win. We will win.
All right, hold on just a second because we got a caller back. Real fast, caller. I've got 2 minutes left. Make it fast, please.
Yes, ask the commissioner if representative from Utah, Ivory is there, because he is one of the ones also that needs to be talked to coordinate with.
All right, I'll have him answer that on the air. What about that?
Ken Ivory is the president for the American Lands Council. He's downstairs right now. And he was one of the 4 organizers of the American Lands Council. He's a stellar guy, and without him, we wouldn't be near as far as we are.
All right, now, Grant, I've only got a limited time left. I got a minute and a half left, and real fast, tell me from this juncture on, what can my program, what can my listeners, what can we do? Real fast.
Okay, first, I would direct everybody to the AmericanLandsCouncil.org and begin to recognize. I joined the organization, and those are because obviously a project like this takes money, but what we need is money from the grassroots and working up. We're not looking at the fat cats to do this. This is a grassroots, county commissions and city councils and just ordinary people that need to get in and support this. And we believe we can do it, and we are going to do it.
All right. Well, listen, I want to say thank you very much to a dear friend of mine, Grant Gerber from Elko, Nevada, County Commissioner, and I'm going to stay on top of this story with him. And doggone it, I think you owe me an apology, because when I went down there for the Silver State Stampede, you were out of town, and you promised me a steak dinner, so I'm going to hold you to it.
Well, I talked to your wife this morning, and she's coming down with you next time. You're going to stay at our house.
and we're really going to treat you right.
All right. God bless you. And please keep in touch with us on this issue, and we'll have you back on the air. And go do your best to get this land transferred to the states, man. I appreciate what you're doing. Thanks, Grant Gerber.
Thank you, Zeb.
You bet. Have a great day. Something that needs to be done and should be done, and that man, if anybody can get involved in it and get it transferred, that man can help, and that's Grant Gerber, attorney and county commissioner from Elko, Nevada. Thank you very much. Real fast, I want to remind you before I send it back over to our main studios, Harris Plumbing NG with Nathan Harris. Now, this man, this isn't just a commercial. This is a testimonial because I believe in what he does for all your plumbing service needs. One call does it all, 431-8633. He's been here. He's helped us. Absolutely. He specializes in water line replacements, drain cleaning, and, of course, all the drips, leaks, everything. This man knows plumbing, and he can help you. And if you're a senior citizen, he's got some special discounts for you. Honest pricing to serve you. Harris Plumbing NG, 431-8633. I'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Don't you go away.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Welcome back to the final 30 minutes. We're on the home stretch, and I have with me in my studio, and I'm going to turn the camera on for that wide range of all the people here so they can see and it'll be transparent. Right now, it's going to make a switch. There you are. Everybody in the studio celebrating my birthday, and Jim and Frida brought me another birthday cake balloon that I'm holding up on camera right now. Thank you very much. Along with some gifts and cards and everything. And Jimmy, that microphone is on and it's hot. Good to have you in my house this morning. Pick that thing right up. You don't have to. You can sit in the chair, whatever you want to do. We'll change microphones a little bit. How are you this morning?
I'm fine, buddy. How are
you? You know what? I think I turned the wrong one on. I did. Go ahead.
I'm fine. You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, you're coming through, just like the commercial on television. I can hear you now.
Well, we were passing by. I thought we'd better stop and wish you a happy birthday.
Well, that's very nice. You and Frida mean a lot to us. And how's everything in the Flowers household this morning?
Well, I guess it's all right. They were just getting older and ornerier.
Yeah, well, I think you and I are pretty close to the same age, aren't we?
Oh, I get you beat by about 4 or 5 years.
Well, I tell you what, I don't want to catch up, but it's nice to know we're in the same age bracket.
Yeah, and the shame of it is there's a lot of this younger generation's never going to know what they're going to miss.
Well, I tell you what, it's friends like you, all of you in this room, that mean a lot to me. And my wife was a little sneaky. I had no idea this was all going to happen.
Oh, she's awfully sneaky.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming by.
Well, we wouldn't have missed it.
What about your lovely wife? She want to get on the air and say something this morning? And she said no, so thank you, in a very, very kind of a direct tone. Did you notice that?
When she says no, she usually...
She means no. I know a lady that will talk, though, and she's standing right there. Evelyn Werner, how are you? Sit down over there for a minute. I got to have you get on the microphone. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you, Zeb.
You get real close to that.
Close.
Pretend it's your husband that you haven't seen for a long time.
Yeah.
You being up in, Seattle?
Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you can pretend that microphone is him.
It's not even close.
I know.
His lips are much
Are you
softer.
saying the microphone's better looking?
No.
Okay.
No, his lips are much softer than the microphone.
Well, it's good to have you back.
I am so glad to be back in Idaho.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, you're not originally from Idaho, are you?
No, I'm from Seattle. I'm in the big city, you know.
You're a Seattle girl.
I am a Seattle girl.
Now, which did you like best, being up there with the rainy, old, soggy Seahawks, or coming back down here to God's country?
Now, see, that's a real question.
Yeah.
Because I loved being in Seattle with the Seahawks, but I didn't like waiting in line every place I went.
I see.
Because there's so many people up there, and traffic is so bad.
You realize, of course, the Seahawks are going to fall apart.
Of course. Well, yeah, they're the manila folders, you know that.
When we get to about the 8th or 9th game of the season, I'm looking for like a lawn chair, a total collapse.
It's possible, but I don't know.
And you know, one of my best and my biggest sponsors on this program, the Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, I can see Randy Wynn just cringing over at Tires West right now. He is a big Seahawk
Big
fan.
Seahawks fan.
You walk into his office and you feel like you're in the CEO of the Seahawks office.
Well, Jerry and I have been doing business with them for a lot of years, since he was probably 16 or 17 years
Really?
old.
Oh, I'll tell
so
you
he
what.
and Randy are pretty good friends.
Well, I tell you, all the Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers are my friends, and of course, I don't want to step on any toes, but the Seahawks will fall.
Oh, well, now maybe you'll be wrong. They made it to the playoffs last year.
Yeah, of course. Now my team is 1-2. They had the bye week last
yes.
week, and they needed the bye week. Maybe to learn when they hold up in front of the audience and the rest of the team, this is a football, and start from scratch. Okay, they've got to re-implement their thinking. I've got a call with a question. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning.
Well, I really don't have a question, but I wanted to wish you a happy birthday.
Well, who is this?
This is your partner in real estate, Willis Stone.
Is this Willis Stone, my partner in real estate, along with his lovely wife, Jill? My goodness sakes, thank you for the well wishes on my birthday. That's very nice of you.
Yes, and I was just wondering, are you able to get the senior citizens discount now?
Willis, I was able to get the senior citizens discount for the last couple of years.
Holy fire!
No, it's...
Happy birthday. Love working with you. Have a wonderful day.
Oh, God bless you and your lovely wife, Jill. You make the real estate business so much more fun for us with Canyon Side Irwin. Thank you very much, Willis Stone. I appreciate it. God bless you, buddy. Just really nice people. Barb, sit down. My goodness, the very nicer half of the Lissau family, and get real close to that. Where is the big boy?
Well, Pastor Alex is in Portland, Oregon.
Really? He got sent up, huh?
Yeah, at a circuit counselors meeting, and I have a message for you. He did try to call in to wish you happy birthday, but he couldn't get through.
Oh.
So he says to give you his best wishes and to tell you that he's in Portland. He's building battle plans against Satan. And I know, he says, I know Zeb is doing the same. And let me get back, because I have a cheap phone and I have to get two messages to get
Yeah,
the
but
whole...
you see, what right now you're so farther advanced than I am. I know, and Gina over at the studio is laughing at me. I know if I push this round button, I get on the screen what I should push next, either hello or goodbye, and that's as far as I've advanced myself on the smartphone.
Yes, well, and he's the same way too. And we have my grandson, who's named after him,
Yes.
Alexander Triplett.
Yes.
Forced him into getting an iPhone, and now we're going to have to retrain him, and it's not going to be pretty.
See, I lost mine the other night in the arena.
Oh,
And
no.
you can see the back of it is all cracked and everything. Horses had run over it, and it got buried out in the arena, and that's why it's all scuffed up. And we had 6 guys out there walking around with their cell phones, dialing the number so we could hear it ring, and we finally found the cell phone out in the arena. That's a true story.
Yeah.
Well, what's the rest of his message?
Well, the rest of his message is that he knows that you are in your studio
Yeah.
and that you are also building battle plans against Satan. And happy birthday, Zeb.
Well, we are trying. You know, what's right is right and wrong is wrong. And right now our country is leaning towards the wrong portion. And we've got to make some drastic changes. But to big boy Alex, one of my best friends ever, God's blessings and thanks for that very kind remark.
Yes, and he comes home today, so
He's going to be home today. Is he flying home or driving?
Yeah, flying.
Flying.
Flying this afternoon.
Really? Superman, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The cape.
He's got the cape and a phone booth
oh,
someplace?
Yes, absolutely.
That's
the arm is out.
The extra large cape.
Yes, the extra. Well, not as large as it used to be, though.
Well, that's true, but Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey uses it, what, in the summertime sometimes?
That could be. Could be.
Him and I both. We're both tent stakes.
But I have a Packers fan here who'd like to talk to
Oh,
you.
my goodness, put him on the microphone. Young man, Alexander, the Great, is that right?
Oh, well, not even close.
Did
but
you wear that cap just for me?
No.
You didn't know that I was a Packers
I
fan.
had no idea you were a Packers fan.
But you wore that cap.
But I wore this cap because I'm a devout Packers fan.
And you realize you won't get out of here alive with that cap. Something's got to stay here. And it's not going to be you. Your grandmother said you have a tendency to clean out the fridge.
No. I don't know where she got that
You
from.
are a big guy. Now, I've seen you at church, and you get up there and you play the guitar. You play, what, the piano?
Yeah, I can play pretty much anything that is set in front of me. That's I grew up with music. My dad, all my life, has played music.
Really?
He actually gave me my first guitar, which was his first guitar, actually. That my grandparents actually bought him. 20 something years ago. So it's been a real long process. So
well, let me ask you something, and I'm certainly being honest and frank here. I'm a big guy, but you are twice my size,
Yes.
and I don't mean that in a derogatory fashion.
No, yeah.
You're a big guy, and I understand when you played high school football, they didn't need the other players in the line. Is that right?
Well, they probably did need them, but I tried my best to allow others to play.
How big are you right now?
I'm 6'2", according to standards from Marine Corps recruiters.
Yeah.
And currently I'm at 260 pounds.
260. But now you do a lot of weightlifting?
I'm doing a lot of cardio lifting and running right now because I'm trying to go into the Marine Corps boot camp, which I need to be at 230 pounds.
So you've got to lose another 30 pounds.
I got to lose another 30 pounds.
What are you eating, if not anything?
Not much, I'll tell you that. It's it's a really strict diet, and a protein shake in the morning, and something.
Well, I don't mind you coming in to visit, but leave my computer alone. You got tooth marks all over the side of it here.
Sorry, I try my best to stop snacking on stuff.
What were you originally as far as your weight is concerned?
When I moved here with my grandparents, when my grandpa found out that I wanted to be in the Marine Corps, I was weighing 320 pounds.
You've got to be kidding me.
Not kidding at all.
And you're a one-man band, aren't you? Holy smokes, 320, and you're not fat at all. I mean, you're a big guy.
Well, I have some fat deposits on my stomach and my hips and stuff like that. But all my life, I've been really active, really athletic. Played sports, just run around, and go to the park and play tackle football with friends and stuff like that.
Who would want to play with you? I mean, you've got some really dumb friends. You know that?
Well, I've got some friends that have some guts, and my brother though, he's 6'4", and he's a big guy. So
is he bigger than you?
He's taller than me. He's not as strong or as wide as I am. But
if you guys fall out of bed, it's going to register on the Richter scale.
Pretty much. We've been there before. We've actually had people come to the house and ask, where's the earthquake?
Yeah.
So.
But now you want to be a Marine.
I do want to be a Marine.
Just like Grandpa.
Just like Grandpa, and I've been learning a lot from his example that staying in for a career would be the way to go with that.
Really? So, and now your Grandpa's also a minister. Are you going to go into the ministry?
I've liked teaching, and I've taught youth before and stuff like that, and I've led worship before in front of giant congregations. And
you got a great personality for it.
Well,
you really do. You're very outgoing. Of course, as big as you are, you can be whatever you want to be.
Well, because nobody can stand in the way.
Right. There you go. But now, what aspect of the Marines do you want to get into?
Oh, well, right now, currently, I still got to talk to some people, but I really have taken an interest in airplane mechanics, so aviation mechanic.
You're going to hold the plane up so they can change the tires or something like that? Yeah.
That too.
Okay.
Another backup I've been thinking about is consulate guard would be really something that I've looked into that I think would be fun and entertaining, so it would keep me going in the Marine Corps. So.
Oh, man, I wish you a lot of luck, but you still have to lose another 40 pounds, 30 pounds.
30. I would like to lose 40, but I got to lose another 30.
So give us your regimen of success. Now, I was, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, last winter I put on a lot of weight. I got kind of hurt in the fall of last year, and later on, and I got pretty sedentary, and I got up to 245 pounds, which to you is dietary.
Yeah.
But to me, it was the biggest I've ever been, and I'm now back down to 216.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, 216.
Yeah, well, let's see. I moved here in 2 months ago. I moved here about two and a half months ago, and I started my diet plan about a week after I moved here. So it's been only maybe 2 months since I've been on the diet, and so I've lost a better part of 60 pounds.
Do you know what my next commercial is?
What's that?
Honestly, you're not going to believe this. The Drift Inn Restaurant at 545 F Street in Rupert. And on Thursdays, you can enjoy a home-cooked meal made by Chef Dave Haley. And it starts at 5 p.m. and goes to closing. And they've also got live music. And they've got luncheon specials from 11 to 5 Monday through Saturday. Banquet facilities, dinner at 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday with nightly specials. And if you want the best of steaks, the best of seafood, the best of everything, it's the Drift Inn at 545 F Street in Rupert. You stop over and see those great folks today. I want to talk more to you in just a minute, but right now, I want to remind everybody we've got a weather update for this hour with MichaelRogersWeather.com, and this hour brought to you by our friends with Lennox Home Comfort Systems, gas furnaces, air conditioners, and heat pumps. You'll enjoy the great comfort of Lennox from Ramsey Heating and Electric with Ramsey's at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Here now, Michael Rogers Weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. To share this with you, not to complain, but to give you a reality as far as the weather is concerned. When I go through the National Weather Center to check the forecast model to kind of look down the road what's happening, I can't do that because of a government partial shutdown. Our weather for today, partly sunny, 60 for the high, 36 for the overnight low. We'll start to see some rain tonight going into tomorrow, tapering off late tomorrow night, and then we have a nice fall, cool weekend. So enjoy the day, enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you've got.
Thank you very much, Michael. We appreciate the update. And don't forget, Lennox Home Comfort Systems, gas furnaces, air conditioners, heat pumps, all of this at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Are you an outdoorsman? You like the outdoors?
Oh, yes.
Get closer to that microphone. I don't want to lose any of your voice there.
All right.
Hunting, fishing, all of the above?
Yeah, I'm actually possibly going fishing the middle of this month. So
bear hunting without a gun, just kind of grab them and throw them around.
I'll
I see.
wrestle them to the ground.
The best way to go and get all the information and material you need. You've been to Sportsman's Warehouse?
Yes.
In Twin?
Yes.
Go back. There's a lot of things there you haven't bought yet, okay?
All right.
They've got everything for your hunting, fishing, archery, camping, boating, ATVs, everything. It's the great indoors for those who love the great outdoors. One of our great weather sponsors daily right here on Zebeth Ranch, Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Now, a young man like yourself, why did you want to really pick the Marines or the service in general as a career? Are you going to stay in for a long period of time, or what's your aspiration there?
So my aspiration is to be able to retire 20, 25 years out of there. So I can,
smart guy.
So I can, first of all, my main reason is I've just, my parents have been real good to me all my life, and they've worked their hardest, but we've been through some struggling times, and just seeing how hard it's been, I don't want to go through that with my kids, even though my parents were the greatest parents I could have ever had. I want my kids to be able to see success and be able to grow up with success and see that their father has a drive for his career, and so on top of it, my family, both sides of my family, from my mom and my dad's side, have come from military backgrounds. So, my grandfather, Alex, he was an officer in the Marine Corps.
He's a mean old bugger, isn't he?
He's tough. He's tough. So, but then
you look so much like him.
Yeah.
That when you walk up to the front of the church on Sundays, honest to goodness, if you both wore the same clothes, and I couldn't see that old gray hair on his head, you look just like him.
Yeah.
I mean, you're twin brothers almost.
Almost.
Yeah.
I've been all my life. I've grown up, and people say you look more like your mom's side of the family than your dad's side of the family, and so. But yeah, I've been my uncle Clay, which is my grandma and grandpa's son, their only son. He's a 6'3", real big guy. I don't know if you've met him yet, but
I haven't. But I'll tell you something. I wish you all kinds of success. Now, to get up in the morning and enjoy another day of not eating, what are you eating and surviving on? Pine nuts and dead bugs, or what? I mean,
I'll tell you, it's really strict and it's really hard. It takes a lot of discipline, but it's mainly in the morning. I have just a protein drink.
That's it for a guy your size?
That's it for.
You're going to be like a beaver around furniture. You know that?
Well, that's more fiber than protein.
Oh my gosh! And that's sufficient for you until lunch. And then I'm sure, what do you have? Raw lettuce or something?
Yeah, a salad or something just small portion size. Usually I can have any meats or protein is really good. So,
oh my gosh! And at night, you really splurge at night, I'm sure.
No, it's my grandma will make dinner, and then I'll have a portion of that, and that's about it. So,
you're dedicated, young man. Now, listen. Do you think you can make it in the time span that you need to for your recruiter and everything?
Well, right now, the last recruiter I talked to, he pretty much told me that he thought it would be a good idea for me to join the Marine Corps, and he was excited because I was driven.
Yeah.
And he could see that in my eyes that I wanted to be a Marine.
Wow.
But the only problem, he said that was going to keep me back was my weight, and so he told me to come back after I've lost all the weight.
Really?
So.
So you're going to go in and say, "Hey, look at here, bud, sign me up."
Exactly. So I want to go back to the same recruiter, but we'll see what happens. But I talked to a recruiting station in Santa Cruz, California, before I moved out here, and I had been in contact with a guy from there that went on vacation when I actually went in to talk to them, and he was telling me that he was excited to see me and that he would try to work something out. But then I got there, and his the guy that was his, like, a backup, told me that, you got to be at 230. So
have you kind of set a goal for your life as to what you want to do after the services? The ministry, I mentioned that earlier. You want to try to stay with that? You're very, very talented with your music and your ability to meet people. I've only known you for a short period of time and really never had a chance to visit with you until I put you on the spot here. But you've got a good personality, and you'd be excellent doing what your grandfather does.
Yeah, well, and I've grown up all my life. My dad's been a worship leader at a church pretty much all my life. And growing up in music, and what I really want to do is I write my own music now too. If I have a YouTube page, if you want to go on there, it's Alexander Triplett on YouTube.
See, now you and I share an interest there because I write poetry. I know, don't laugh at me, but and I'm also in the process right now of finalizing a book. That painting right there is the cover for the book, as a matter of fact, and we're been trying to get the publisher to get off my back. It was supposed to be in the book in form in February, and I'm running late, as you can tell.
You're so busy.
Too busy. It's something I want to do basically for my own satisfaction.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. That's something that I've grown up really good at all my life, too, is going through language arts and stuff like that through school. I've always scored high in writing poetry and writing in general, and so I'm a big poetry fan. My favorite poet is not preferred by a lot of people, but he's kind of eerie, but
well, your age though, you're of that age and of that generation where some things seem off the wall to us old timers. Not
just that. It's Edgar Allan Poe. There's
nothing wrong with Edgar Allan Poe.
There's nothing wrong with
unless you walk around with a crow on your shoulder or something.
Exactly. But I love the way he writes and his style. So
it was considered weird then, and it will be considered weird through all the ages.
Exactly.
By many people and many critics.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I respect that. But you're a sharp young man, and I want to wish you the very best. And how did you get roped into coming to a boring birthday party? For an old-timer like me. I mean, that's like watching worms run across the sidewalk, isn't it?
Oh, no. Well, I watched those this morning as I was running. So,
I see.
But, my grandma had been telling me about it, that, hey, we're going to go over to Zeb's house and wish him happy birthday. And this morning, got up and went for a run, and then came back in, took a shower, and we were on our way over here.
You would love to meet the girl that's over at my studio, a lovely lady, Gina, and her nickname is Harley Girl. And she's into Harleys, and she's also into repairing and restoration of old vehicles. This is a sharp lady, and she's so skinny she can take a bath in a shotgun barrel. I mean, absolutely a beautiful lady, and she's got a different personality like yours. I love people with diversified personalities.
Well, that's good.
And I wish you a lot of luck, young man.
Thank you very much.
I really do, and thanks for coming to my party.
Oh, no problem.
Now, please do not inhale my cake. I want a piece of it before you get done with it, okay?
I will try my best.
Alexander, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget the great big tire sale going on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, of course, with the best in tires, the best in brake service, the best in front-end alignment, shocks and struts, and the best in service to you. They really take care of you. These are my friends, and they're my major sponsor and have been on this program for quite a few years. God bless them, and I thank them. Tire sale going on right now. Stop in and see Dave on Blue Lakes in Twin Falls, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Lane and Rupert, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Gina, what a busy day over here. Gina's gone. She got mad and left.
No, we were having some technical difficulties, so I'm like, oh, gotta run.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you for everything, and we just had a lot of people pop in, and we're going to have a little bit of birthday cake, and hopefully in the next couple of days you'll be able to pop in also.
Yes, I have some things that I need to deliver to you, too, anyway.
Well, it's been a great birthday so far, and we've got even more people coming through the door. Holy smokes, this is quite a congregate of different people coming in.
I see. I knew it.
You knew all about this.
I did.
And that's what really bugs me is my wife never let on a minute that all this was going to happen.
Well, she wasn't supposed to.
Did a good job.
Surprise, yes.
Tomorrow on the program is Thursday, and you know the Thursday drill. We've got a lot of people that'll be on the show, and including Los Angeles attorney James Herson, and he's really going to give us an overview of a lot of what's going on in politics and the people in Hollywood that right now aren't so proud that they voted for Obama. Very interesting. And also all of our different segments. Are we going to have Dog Nation tomorrow?
Yes, I do believe so.
Good old Ken Mort. We've got a lot of things planned. Oh, my goodness. Larry Hudig just walked in and gave me one of the greatest presents I've ever had in my life. I don't think I've ever had something so unique. A crusty old ear of corn. Larry, I can't tell you what this means to me. I'm ecstatic, and I'll hold this ear of corn in reverence for the rest of my life that God gives me. Thank you for this ear of corn. Gina, you can't imagine what this means to me.
You can use it for next year's plant.
And I've got an idea as to what I'd like to do with this ear of corn right now, too, Larry. God bless you all. Thank you for the well wishes. Thanks for all the cards and all the gifts, everything, and the emails. And I'm going to turn this back over to you a minute or two early if I could. And we're going to bring in security to get rid of some of the rowdiness that's going on here. And we'll see you tomorrow at 8:06. The way things were, the way things ought to be. Zeb at the Ranch, we'll see you tomorrow morning. Thanks, Gina. Thank you. I'm going to put that on my trophy case forever.